guilty of crime.
We're back. Hello, everybody. What's up? Happy Friday. I'm your host, Jay, with Guilty of Crime. Another day. Happy Friday. Guys, I took the day off today of work, so I'm well rested today. All right, come on in. Happy Friday. If you are a Cancer or a Leo, it's the season. All right, happy birthday to anybody that comes in and it's your birthday or it's coming up. Let us know. Come on in, guys. It is Friday, my favorite day of the week. Come on in, guys. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Get a membership if you can. All right. We're going to be doing this. We're going to be here for probably a couple hours today to go over the David's horrific grand jury testimony that was leaked. Could this flip the entire case? Now, this is not just clickbait. FloJo knows that. We're going to get into all of it. And I think there's a lot of things that just people were following bits and pieces, but don't have the whole complete picture. All right. So before I even get into any of what we're doing, let me quickly come in, say hello, and let you know that my friend did find her niece and she's safe. Thank God. I was having trouble sleeping last night. I kept thinking about it. And this morning I woke up and I was like, oh my God, please tell me they found that a little 11-year-old that was gone from her window from a cut screen. Okay, so let me quickly tell you, I don't want to tell anybody who it is, but mad prayers to this person, the niece and the family. Hopefully they can keep her in that damn house because I told her, tell your niece to come talk to me, watch an episode or come talk to me because little girls that run away don't always come home. All right. I know, Sadie's mama. I let me just briefly tell you what happened. So she says, my God, Jay, they found her about 25 minutes ago. Now, this was last night at about 8:30 my time. So it was probably almost midnight their time. All right. They said they didn't know all the particulars, but she was with an 18-year-old who apparently told her how to get out of the house without setting the alarm off. That's why the screen window was cut out of her bedroom. This person's waiting to hear more from her sister. Thank you for being a friend. She says, really did calm me down a little bit today. She called me crying and I said, listen, please don't cry. It's been a few hours and I know we go straight to bad things, but it hasn't been 24 hours. Let's try to go on the computer, find her last whereabouts, do everything that you can before just breaking down. So that being said, they're hoping that 18-year-old is on his way to jail. She's on her way to the hospital to get checked out. And you guys got to understand that there was probably some kind of sexual abuse involved. I can't imagine an 18-year-old having a 11-year-old, an 18-year-old having an 11-year-old sneak out, cut through her window, go to the apartment complex, and then when she gets there to turn her cell phone off so they can't find her. Guys, this usually doesn't end so well. She's lucky she got to go home, But I got to tell you that there's a good possibility that even though she might not even know it, there may have been some sexual assault that happened because, well, an 18-year-old's only going to want one thing from a little girl, and it's not the conversation. All right. So that being said, just thank you guys for your prayers, and may God bless their family. I hope she doesn't do that again. All right. And when that happens, look at what happens. When that happens, look at what happens right there. Justice for Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Celeste Rivas Hernandez met David at the age of 11 online. And by 13, when he moved to LA, she met him in person. And guess what happened? Well, they started having sex, but there's nothing consensual about a little girl that's with a grown ass man. Now, David could have gotten out of it. Okay. David could have done anything. He could have said, I'm going to take a slap on the wrist. Probably I've never been in trouble. Maybe my career will get hurt a little bit, but I'm not going to kill this girl and then proceed to dismember her and erase her entire life. So had he done that, we wouldn't be in this predicament today. And, that's where we are. So, covering these cases and hearing them and having a daughter that's also 11 really, it really gets to me. So today, guys, we're going to actually break down the latest developments in the David case. Now, this case has taken a sharp turn after, and you might not even know the leaked grand jury testimony that is going throughout the investigation. Now, the preliminary hearing, guys, is set for 4 days away on July 21st, and prosecutors, as well as the defense, are gearing up for a very pivotal moment so far in this case. This is where the charges come down. So in this episode, guys, we're actually going to talk about what the leak actually means, how it's going to sharp public perception. It's good for us, but not for them, and what to expect when both sides go into court next week. All right, from legal strategy to potential fallout of this case. Is it going to break the case? This is the update that's going to help you to understand where this case stands and what's next. So let's get into it, guys. Hello, everybody. July is going fast. I know. That's why I took the day off today. Made baby Guilty some pancakes, and I hung out with the wife and the kid. So yeah, that's that. Happy July celebration to the Leos and the Cancers. All right. What's up, Shadow Lion? My lion friend. Inquisitive P is starting us off with the $1.99 just because. Well, thank you. And hello, everybody that's been here. Kel's probably the sweetest mod on here. You're not that they're all not sweethearts, but they have to work with me every day, so their skin's got to be thickened. Jay, I already told you that 10 times. Jay, right? My mods abuse me behind the scenes. Cooling Chris, how you doing? I saw your email, and I decided just to let all y'all know about the 11-year-old little girl that was found. Mama Sage, got Mama Sage and Dark Scale Creature all in the same post. Cuff you, thanks for coming. Flojo, always a pleasure. You guys drop his link if you haven't already. Please, Lady for Justice. Yeah, we do need prayers for Celeste and hope that this monster doesn't just walk away from this. All right, Jamie, my birthday is June 25th. So that already passed. You're probably either a Gemini or a Cancer. Well, happy late birthday, my friend. All right, you got your intro created. Well, if you guys would drop the link for Kathy at KH Crime Lab. I always forget the 2 letters. If I don't write my name down, guys, I'll forget it. So as you can see, my name's down there. I'm like, I am Jay with Guilty of Crime. All right, how you guys doing? Edith, good to see you. Libra Cole, Sadie's mama, Husky Lover, Elvin. All right, Deb, I think Deb's in the house. Krista, Mama Pearl, all the mods. All right, happy Friday, guys. What are you guys doing today? How's it going? How's the week? Leo season's about to be in full effect. Right. Hi from California to New Hampshire. American Pie 1961. Nancy B. My birthday was Saturday. Well, happy birthday month. my Cancer friend. You're a serious Cancer. All right. Leo. Are you a Leo, Steph? Or are you just shouting out to the Leos? Okay, you're a Cancer mom is a Gemini member. All right. All right, guys. You guys ready to get into this? Before I do anything and start getting into the grand jury, guys, because I got to tell you about the different separate grand jury dates and just a little bit of what's coming down, as well as of course, if you hadn't heard about Asia finally coming out and saying she knew Celeste was underage at some point, but initially David lied to everybody and even showed proof that Celeste was 19 years old, which, guys, it doesn't surprise me because, well, he was taking her to Paris and to other places in the country and in the United States. So it doesn't surprise me that he had a fake passport or a fake ID. It just doesn't surprise me at all. All right. The Leo OG's in the house. You're a serious Leo. Lexi, hello. All right, guys, before I do anything else, I'm going to put this up and give you a good idea of what information is coming out before the preliminary hearing and what led up to this grand jury hearings. I'll show the autopsy again real quick so you can see what he actually did to her. This guy's a monster, guys, and he needs to be locked up.
We are learning more information about this David case right before the preliminary hearing next week, so let's get into it. We are finally hearing from David's ex-best friend, Asia. We are also learning more about the investigative grand juries that were convened against David, and we are also learning more about how this preliminary hearing is probably going to go. But first, we are going to talk about Asia coming online, doing a video, and basically calling David out on all of the BS that he had done. This video didn't sit well with a lot of people because the fact that Asia only made this video because she was kicked out of a streamer party.
I love that because when we go and show the video or talk about it, she acts like she's doing it because she's so disgusted by what happened, when in fact she's just trying to self-preserve, in my opinion. Retha Bell, good to see you. Baha, I don't understand how people like this are popular. Yeah, I don't either. And his music sucks. So there's also a leak that just came out, guys. Today's July 17th, 2026. And it was put out there last week, but TMZ came out with an article, and it's all over the place. David's songs were all scrubbed, but they were also dropped through Spotify. How, you ask? We don't quite know. Before she continues talking, let me just put this up real quick so you guys can visually see this. These were the preliminary hearing dates. These are all of the dates that happened prior to this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did I count 7 there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 separate preliminary hearings. November 17th, 2025, December 4th, 2025, December 8th, 2025, February 4th through the 6th, 2026, February 9th through the 11th, February 20th, and the 23rd of 2026. Now, in all of those separate hearings, those were David's parents, David's brother, witnesses, and so many more, right? The friends, Asia, Neo testified. He was there for about 40 minutes, spilling the tea. We also know that there was another witness that was a female that was also allegedly arrested, but we don't know who. All right. So, in this case, I just pulled the snippet of, we're talking about the secret grand juries and the leaked information and the preliminary hearings and what's coming on the 21st. I would say if a car with a dismembered, decomposing body is registered to your home address, that's something you should expect to be questioned for by authorities, don't you think? And that's what this is, Judge. All right. So this is them in court talking about and having people testify. I mean, it's the very, very most obvious thing, right? If you're going to leave a body dismembered, composing in your car, and you're the last person to drive this with proof, guys, expect to be questioned. All right. That's the lesson for today. All right, let's pull that down and hear what she has to say, the updates. And then I'm going to read you articles and get into X. I'm going to show you some of the Reddit stuff and the actual uh, Superior Court document that's ordering the investigative grand jury transcripts and exhibits that were under a seal. All right. Those weren't supposed to come out. None of that was supposed to come out, and especially not to the public, guys. All right. So let's hope that this doesn't put a damper on the case in any way that can benefit David.
By Jason the Ween. Also, in this long video, we heard information directly from her about the messages of her saying that Celeste was only 13 years old and was a missing girl back in 2024. And even though I don't agree with Asia's way of only wanting to make this video because she was kicked out of a party, and also the way she acted so wishy-washy at the beginning, saying she didn't know Celeste Rivas Hernandez and didn't know her age, I do think she is going to play a crucial part in the trial against David if it gets there.
I feel like I was able to talk about this because I didn't know what was legally acceptable, or if I talked about something, it was like tampering with evidence. You know what I mean? But anyways, I texted this girl because I see this, the missing poster, and I'm like, yo, that's my friend's girlfriend, because I knew David was dating this girl. That's common knowledge, right? So I respond back, and on the missing poster, unfortunately, what people don't understand is you can't see the screenshot that girl had posted. You couldn't see her age. You couldn't see really much info. So that's why I responded, and I was like, hey, like, I was genuinely just concerned for her. I was like, hey, this is my friend's girlfriend. Like, what's going on? And then she goes, can you confirm she's 13?
And guys, this is wild because when you look at these two girls, they look so similar. He definitely surrounded himself with these little short Hispanic women that seem to be what he was attracted to. I mean, look at her, and then look at Celeste, and look at there's another Celeste. I mean, this is, and I think she's full of shit. This is self-preservation, in my opinion.
Of course, I go, what the fuck? Okay, because obviously that's a big thing to say. And David used to be my homie. So I'm like, my close homie's fucking with a minor? Hell no, I don't fuck with that shit. So immediately I go to David, and I'm like, hey, this girl's saying that you're fucking with a fucking 13-year-old. You need to explain yourself. He was like, dude, that's not even true. Like, she's like 19. And I was like, no, she's not. She said she's 13. Like, show me proof. And you know what? Mm-hmm. He showed me proof. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna back off. I feel like I'm harassing my friend. Obviously, now that's a little too much.
She says right there was interesting because she goes on and says she can't say how David basically proved to her that Celeste was 19. But if you remember...
Don't worry, I'm going to play the whole thing for you guys with all the context as well. So I just want you to get a good idea of what we're covering today with all of the leaks coming out and even just evidence that we're talking about.
In very early reportings by TMZ, they found out by multiple sources that Celeste allegedly had fake IDs. So this does make me believe that this is probably what David might have shown Asia is possibly fake IDs of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, which would also explain how the heck he was allegedly traveling with Celeste Rivas Hernandez all the way to London. Because if you know, it is very hard to travel with a minor across the country, even though I don't agree with.
Hey guys, that didn't stop R. Kelly from marrying Aaliyah and many of the other high profile, Hollywood folks that do this all the time. So it's not surprising. And again, it did not, and there's nothing that calls for what he did to Celeste, dismembering her and just really erasing her. Nothing calls for that. All right. But the bottom line here is he knew what he was doing. He had many opportunities to stop. He had many opportunities to say, hey, I shouldn't be doing this. You're too young, whatever. And he didn't do it.
The way Asia went about this, I do believe the second that she saw that missing poster, she should have went to the police about this, not just David. I feel like she felt in the pit of her stomach that this girl did not look old enough. She looked like a little girl that she was. I will say any evidence that she's already gave to investigators, and if she testifies against David, will be a huge piece of evidence that they try to use against him. So it is very possible that she will play a huge part in trying to get justice for Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and we do have to acknowledge that. The other thing we're learning is how many investigative grand juries there actually were, and there was a lot. It appears these grand juries met 4 different times for days in a row. And their dates coincide with a lot of things that we were seeing being reported in the media. From the time the coroner got Celeste's autopsy completely finished, because we know that it took a while based off the brief because how badly she was decomposed. Information we were seeing from TMZ talking about Neo, and also allegedly the questioning of David's managers. The dates coincide. Also, the dates coinciding when they were trying to get David's parents to testify allegedly to this investigative grand jury based on court records that had came out. This is important once again to prove that this was obviously investigative grand juries. What they were trying to do is...
Now, guys, they knew the whole time. Law enforcement had known what they were going to do. And, you know, I can go back on my videos and tell you that, because I started covering this case more heavily as more information started coming out in November. And by December, I had an episode for you guys that was like, hey, just wait. And I'm guessing here. I didn't know any of the information, but just wait. When January comes and people are back in the court, it's going to go fast and furious. And it did. It did. February, it started getting all of its, all the information. And then David was arrested. So that's where you'll see the most information coming out. And now I feel like they're almost putting the information out and leaking it because they want David and his defense to understand what's coming out and be, let's say, be more optimistic about taking a plea deal. But I don't think David will take a plea deal because he's way too narcissistic and he thinks he's smarter than everybody.
Have people come testify. That way they have their testimonies under lock and seal. It's a great tool for investigators to use, knowing that they need more information to make sure that they kind of try to get a slam dunk case. It explains the long time delay that we were seeing. But also on top of this, we're also hearing from the district attorney about how this preliminary hearing is about to work. He said at this preliminary hearing that they are going to show very thorough evidence. They are basically about to lay out a whole timeline of Celeste's last whereabouts and how she was found in this Tesla.
The preliminary hearing is set to begin on July 21st. We estimate that could take anywhere from probably 3 to 7 days. At which point we're going to present evidence to a judge to hold David. It's David Anthony Berg, the singer David.
Now, guys, this has not been formal. This has all been them. So they didn't, when they did this, when they arrested him based on the information that they had and turned over to a judge that said it's okay to do that. But what led up to the preliminary was all of these grand jury dates. And had they not had enough evidence, or, you know, something had happened in there, it could have compromised this case, or they could have said, we're not going to, you know, we don't have enough. It's just simply not enough to move forward at this point. Nina Drew, thank you so much. It is my birthday month and it's already halfway gone. Guys, summer's flying. That's why I took the day off too, because baby Guilty is I just wanted to hang out with her a little bit, you know? All right, so Nina Drew, thank you for the $4.99 towards our goal. Cool and Chris, choo choo. Justice for Celeste, thank you. And Nina Drew and Inquisitive P, thanks for getting us kicked off with that. If we make our goal tonight, guys, I will give away another Guilty of Crime book. Midnight Lace, I did not forget about you. I have your book ready to ship, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to ship any more books this week and not have to go back to FedEx twice. All right, so let's continue. You guys know the drill. Let's keep going. This is like a dump of information, and then I'm going to break it down for you.
To answer on the charge of first-degree murder with special circumstances, as well as lewd and lascivious conduct with a 13-year-old. The evidence that's going to be presented is going to be very thorough. It's going to track her movements on that particular night back in April of 2025, all the way through the time at which in September of 2025, her body was found.
By the sounds of it, it sounds like they're going to put on some very thorough evidence. They're about to lay it out like a whole timeline, kind of like the brief. But with this, we already know that we are going to hear from some type of witnesses. We don't know if they are people close to David. It can be law enforcement. We will probably hear from the medical examiner. And I'm sure we're going to learn more information that we don't already know already. But at the same time, we're not going to see everything. There is some things that I'm sure they're going to save until the actual trial. But I do believe that it sounds like it's going to be a very thorough timeline of events at this preliminary hearing. And they also made it clear that they have still not decided yet if they are going to try to push for David to get the penalty. He said it's still something on the table that they...
See, this is all still on the table, but speculation says otherwise that he's going to get out of this any way, shape, or form, unless there's something that just completely happens where you don't cross your T's and dot your I's, just like the other cases like Murdoch and Letitia Stout. It just keeps coming. All these people are getting new trials because something wasn't done right. And that's what we want to make sure here, that we don't have to redo this. There's a shit ton of evidence, guys. We don't want to go back through this.
They are still talking about to see if this is something that they believe that this case amounts to. But I will say, in the state of California, it only takes one special circumstance if they do decide for the penalty to be found guilty of. And there is 3 right now against David. Even though penalty is currently paused in California, if they do push for this and he is given this, if it ever resumes, then he would basically be on the road for being a person that would eventually get, very interesting. I've been trying to take a break to get ready for next week because it's a lot of information and a lot of really terrible information, but I am currently ready to follow this preliminary hearing to a T. So I hope y'all are.
And thank you. I'm ready because I want to know what's happening. I want to know what's going to happen next. When's the trial? What are his consequences? What are they charging him with? Are they actually going to go with the death penalty? I mean, All right. So let me do this. Today's July 17th. And, as it gets closer, more information starts to come out, right? We start getting things like this. And I don't know how that happened. I watched a whole Trap More Ross video about this, and alleged new song was scrubbed hours after dropping. I don't know how this happened, but Spotify released the song, and there's a whole album. They changed the cover just a little bit to tweak, and they put it out. And we're like, how is David doing that from jail? Who's managing this? And how is that even possible that they're letting it come through? Meaning Spotify or any platform. So while David was sitting behind bars, he's awaiting trial for the alleged murder of Celeste Rivas. An alleged song of his quietly dropped on Spotify. It's unclear if he has any involvement, although when I saw the whole context of Trapmore Ross and the album cover that changed slightly and was released, he definitely had something to do with this. And I believe his brother is helping him to release these things. It only makes sense. They're money-hungry people, guys. Him and his family are money-hungry people. Now, that was the track titled Marcescence. I don't even know what the hell. I've heard him say it before. Marcescine. How you guys let me know how you say that. But that was only the title. But then with the album cover changing, you could tell that was done on purpose. It was deliberately put on. So that was taken down about 8 hours on Thursday. That was yesterday. It was up for 8 hours and now it's down. All right. It's no longer playable on the songs page, but the artwork shows David holding a camera in the bathroom mirror. So that's that right there. That's the unreleased leak of this, which I don't want anything to do with. I don't even like his music. TMZ also learned there was a music video for the song on Spotify, but it was ultimately archived. However, a David archive account managed to post it on YouTube. I think it's his brother. As you know, the scandalized singer is behind bars for allegedly Emming, capital M, and CSAM, a 14-year-old, Celeste Rivas, after cops found her body chopped up. Ooh, that sounds bad. In a Tesla last year. All right, let me put this up real quick so you guys can remember what he did to her, and not in a super gruesome way, but prosecutors claim that he killed her last April after she allegedly threatened to reveal potentially compromising information about their relationship. Now, David has pleaded not guilty to the charges. It's unclear who submitted the song to Spotify and when, but I'm sure they can figure that out if they want to. It's not too hard to track the account and find the IP address. All right. So that's what he did to this little girl, to Marcescence. Okay. Thank you. Marcescence. I heard Trap Lore saying it, but I'm like, yeah, he does look like a little girl. I agree. Yeah. Celeste's family, man, it's so sad to see her family and you have to hear, where were the parents during this? Why weren't they trying harder? It's almost like victim blaming all over again, because Celeste did run away to David and she did threaten him, which is a huge no-no in Hollywood, especially, right? We all know, just like the little girl that ran away, the 11-year-old that ran away, they don't always get to come home and they just don't know better. Hey, Carrie, how you doing? Happy Friday. Are you following this? All right, so that's her family. That's what David allegedly did to her. That's what he's being charged with, guys. And let's get into this real quick. Before we get into the motions and everything, I want to bring you to, let's take you to X real quick, because there's a bunch of stuff on X. And Flojo, thank you for posting this. Now, there's multiple videos. We're not playing this video today. I do have a special one for you that I know you probably haven't seen yet. But this is Nancy Grace talking about a cautionary tale of how evidence mishandling can torpedo an entire case, offering a striking contrast to current investigation into the leaks of, you guys know, the medical examiner's office involving Celeste Rivas had a leak. That's what we're going to get into today. I'm going to get into, that's going to be the bulk of it. Right now, I'm updating you. And then here, this was the Spotify back that they caught David's Spotify and music popping up later to be scrubbed. And thank you, Flojo, for posting that little snippet there of Nancy Grace. So that was leaked and then scrubbed about 8 hours later. He sits behind bars. That was the article I read. And then this one, Asia Collins, David controversy, a breakdown of the latest developments. Now, we kind of seen some of those a minute ago, but nearly a year after the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, the investigation has taken a new turn. Guys, did you know that she was his former stylist at the beginning? She was a stylist he hired for his first outing. I don't know if it was a tour or what have you, but I know this was his first tour, big tour that he got arrested during. But this one, she was a stylist and then became his friend. She publicly addressed her role in it, and I think it was all self-preservation. I'm going to play that for you without interruptions. For months, a viral screenshot circulated online depicting a conversation in which an individual warned Asia Collins that Celeste was missing and, crucially, that she was only 13 years old. During a recent live stream, Asia officially confirmed the authenticity of these text messages. All right. She details her accounts and tells us her failure to verify this. All right. That's the thing. She should have went to cops. Had she done that then, she might, Celeste might still be alive, guys. All right. Critics argue that receiving a direct, credible warning about a missing child should have triggered an immediate independent investigation. And I agree with that, even with law enforcement, guys. Law enforcement went to David's house, asked him if he knew Celeste. They already knew that he knew Celeste. The parents had told them, but I don't know why we didn't go into full investigation mode and bring her little butt home. Instead, we find her dismembered months later. All right, so let's take a look. This is the source. The source is Culture Corner, and I'm going to just play what she says in her own words.
I see this, the missing poster, and I'm like, yo, that's my friend's girlfriend, because I knew David was dating this girl.
Damn.
I see this, and I'm like, yo, that's my friend's girlfriend, because I knew David was dating this girl. That's common knowledge, right? So I respond back, and on the missing poster, unfortunately, what people don't understand is you can't see the screenshot that girl had posted. You couldn't see her age. You couldn't see really much info. So that's why I had responded, and I was like, hey, like, I was genuinely just concerned for her. I was like, hey, this is my friend's girlfriend. Like, what's going on? And then she goes, can you confirm she's 13?
Now, don't worry, guys. It's 2 minutes and 23 seconds. If there's a longer snippet, I'm not playing that. I'm just playing her words telling us that, oh, no, I wouldn't condone that if I would have known. All right. Bullshit. You knew, You saw her, you saw them hiding, you saw all of the things that went down, and you chose to ignore it for your own self. All right. So you can get ahead, so you can build a social media following what you didn't think was going to happen, that this creepy guy was going to dismember this little girl. I'm sure you didn't think that. I hope not.
Of course, I go, what the fuck? Okay, because obviously,
hey, Jinx,
that's a big thing to say. And David used to be my homie. So I'm like, oh, nah, my close homie's fucking with a minor? Hell no, I don't fuck with that shit. So immediately I go to David. And I'm like, hey, this girl's saying that you're fucking with a fucking 13-year-old. You need to explain yourself. He was like, dude, that's not even true. Like, she's like 19. And I was like, no, she's not. She said she's 13. Like, show me proof. And you know what? He showed me proof. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna back off. I feel like I'm harassing my friend. Obviously, now that's a little too much. And obviously, there was more conversation than that. I can't get into every single detail for legal reasons, but
she's going to testify. She has to testify at that preliminary hearing coming up on July 21st. This is damning evidence, just this alone. I'm sure the officer that went to his door also, that he told, I don't know her. I didn't know she was 14. She told me she was 19. All of that's going to come into play, along with all the videos that he thought he was hiding. Neo's turned his back on him, right?
I didn't just go, oh, hey, is your friend 13? And he went, no. And I was like, oh, okay, la, 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 la. Like, I wasn't being stupid. I was like, no, show me proof. Okay? Like, I need to see actual evidence because I think you're fucking with a minor. And obviously, when my friend tells me, he's like, no, I'm not, shows me proof that he is not, and I harass him more, and he's like, dude, like, chill the fuck out. Like, manipulated the fuck out of me, to be honest. I was like, okay, like, honestly, I'm tripping. Geez, okay, I'm a layoff. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much the explanation with the screenshot.
All right, so that's it. I wanted to play it in the entirety so you could hear her words. Shaza, what's up? How you doing, my friend, Mr. Bot? Deb, Big Deb. I won't give him the dumb way of writing it. Had such an ego, he thought he was untouchable. So many entertainers feel the same way, and I agree, because there's no other way. All right, no other way that you can put that other than him thinking he's untouchable. Yeah, I know, Flo Joe. Thank you for being here. I know you've covered the shit out of this case, and you know more than I do, I'm sure. But yes, me, self-preservation. I want out of this. I'm going to testify against him, and I guarantee you that's what everybody's doing. All right? Everybody has turned on him. We've heard that already. So I love actually X. I think Flo Joe understands now. Hey, just go to X and you'll know what she's covering. All right. So here's some of the things from X. These were the screenshots that we put out there. Asia's saying, yeah, these were mine. I did this. She replied to this. Bro, this is my friend's. So she's telling us exactly about this text message that was on February 16th. This must have been Flojo, can you tell me if this was 2025 or wait, it had to be 2025. Not 2024. Okay. And then she goes on to say, what the fuck? You're living right. She gave the same response. I don't know why he just didn't date her. What was the deal? Does anyone know why he didn't just date a grown-ass woman? This girl's pretty. She's pretty. She's got some booty there, obviously, and she's old enough. And then there's his creepy brother. Guys, I would never, and I'm sorry, but I would never support David 2.0. He looks even creepier to me than David does. Like, he's got some dark thoughts going on in his head. All right. Most active social media at the moment. Right. All right. February 2024. Thank you. I know you know all about this case. So it's always nice to have you in chat when I'm covering this. Always. Anyway, here's one of the leaks, guys. Now, this leak, and I don't know if you agree with me, Flojo, this leak, there's more than just this that came out. This could cause a huge problem in the case. I hope it doesn't, but here's more proof that David's so guilty. But it's leaked information, guys. Leaking David should be more common. It shouldn't. I shouldn't be able to see this. I want to see it, but we shouldn't be able to. It shouldn't be out there for the public yet. All right? It just shouldn't. But hey, as long as it doesn't mess up. Now, I can go on to Reddit right now and show you many other leaks that everyone's talking about. But I don't really, I want this to come out in the trial or the at least preliminary hearing. So look, guys, we just heard Asia saying she didn't know, and she said that he gave her proof, which means they're going to find probably a driver's license or a California ID and a passport that's fake. They're going to find that because David preserved all of his information. He didn't get rid of anything, even the body, right? So look, this is proof that United Airlines flew her out there to David in Texas. And he used the Victoria Mendez name. I didn't even realize that. Well, we don't know where it came from. That's the thing is, they're not going to do anything until they figure out what the leak is and where it came from. But there is a leak, and that shouldn't be out there. And it was information that was supposed to go directly to the defense and to the prosecution, obviously. So there's the ticket, and he uses Victoria Mendez name, which, guys, the Victoria Mendez name was also the name that he used to buy the body bag, the incinerator, the shovel, and all of the things to dismember her body, like the chainsaws. All right? I agree. And we don't even know about the freezing part yet, Tiff. We don't actually know that's true. So there's a confirmation. Her ID must have said Victoria Mendez because he got the address here to his house, the Dory Place in Los Angeles, and that's his credit card that he paid for with the confirmation. It was $923.03 to get Celeste out to Texas, which also goes to show that his parents probably did meet her and they're freaking lying. All right? So, I mean, there's so many other things. Asia Collins, officially, she was the stylist for David in this David, My House Is Not a Home tour. That's it right there. So she was the stylist. Did Rob Morgenroth, via Zara Brothers, European Travel. All right. Anyway, she was, somebody's cooking food here and it smells good. All right. Anyway, Asia Collins, a former friend, finally spoke out ahead of the case. Next week, July 21st, they're going to determine if there's enough evidence for the case to proceed to a full criminal trial. All right, guys. So that's what I wanted to get in there before we started all of the legal jargon type of stuff. All right, guys. I'm so happy to be here today with you. I knew that I didn't want to go to work today, but I knew that I couldn't not be streaming with y'all because I know how much we look forward to all this. So hello, Danny, and everybody else rolling in. I promise I'm going to gift a membership and say hello to you guys when I'm not reading. All right? I promise. David delivered the evidence tied in a little bow. Yes. All right. Yeah, that's the thing. All right, guys. Let's take a look at the documents real quick, and then we will continue. There's a lot of information, and I'm here to present it to you. All right? Happy Friday. God, that smells good. I don't know who's cooking. Mom, that's not you, is it? Moho, good to see you. All right, so let's take a look here real quick. Let's see if I can click on it bigger. No, I can't. So I'll leave it like that. I'll put it a little bigger for you guys, and I will just quickly go over this. Now, this is the Blair Burke, McLean, Marilyn Bednarski, filed July 7th, attorneys for defense. So this is David Burke. This is his attorney, and they're filing justice at Superior Court of State of California for County of Los Angeles, the people of the state of California versus David Anthony Burke. Order directing the investigative grand jury transcripts and exhibits, and they be unsealed and stipulated protective order. Now, they're supposed to be unsealed for the defense, so they know what they're working with. All right. Good cause having been shown, it's hereby ordered that the following materials be unsealed for the limited purposes set below and no other purpose. Now, I showed you the grand jury, I showed you the dates earlier, and it continues to go on here. Transcripts of testimony and the hearings that were conducted. They want unsealed documents from these court dates, right? From these hearings in November, December, February, and then the other February 9th, February 20th, 7 of them, 7 court hearings in order to solidify this. Imagine how much evidence and how many witnesses there are. So look, the exhibits were marked and referenced during the above testimony. Herein collectively referred to as the specified documents. The foregoing materials are unsealed to permit their use in the felony criminal case, and they give you the number, and only for the purposes permitted by this order. It is further ordered that the specified documents are subject to the following provisions. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but number 1, specified documents, right? And they're telling them which ones with the case number, defense counsel, and that includes Blair Burke, and that shows all of them down here, all the people that are supposed to have this, not people on Reddit, and counsel for the people. So basically the defense, right? Defense counsel shall not disclose or disseminate the specified documents to any person or entity except for and expressly authorized by this order. All right. We're not 10 days away. We're 4 days away from the preliminary hearing. And this came from Steve Fisher about status conference. The prosecutor said the preliminary hearing is expected to last no more than 3 days. That's crazy. That doesn't even seem long enough. But that means the prosecution will likely call only the witnesses and present only the evidence needed to establish probable cause. Perhaps with a little extra to show that David Burke, the strength of the case against him. All right, to show David Burke, and that's where they say they're going to show him how heavy the case is, how solid it is, hoping that he'll want to take a plea deal. Steve Fisher says, I'm particularly interested in whether anyone from David's management team or Nia will testify at this actual hearing, or Asia, right? I have no information indicating whether they will be called at the preliminary hearing or held for a possible trial. My personal opinion is that the case will not ultimately, and that's as far as it goes. I don't know what, I'm sure, well, not ultimately, I don't know what he's going to say. If you know FloJo, but Steve Fisher has been on this from what, day 2? All right, let me do this. Hold on. What is this? Well, 15 minutes. Hold on, I got Trap Lore Ross signed off the limited unsealing. We talked about that. The speaker suggesting that. Go here. I've got a bunch of different clips that I got to pull up. So let me put it here for a minute. Hold on. During the December 8th grand jury session, David's manager testified for 2.5 days. An unidentified female witness, rumored to be Lane Cooperstein, failed to appear for the grand jury during testimony, leading the prosecutor to consider a body attachment to compel her appearance. So this was Lane Cooperstein, not Asia. All right. Let me just play a minute of this for you, and then we're gonna get to the next thing. He always has so much information. Trap More Ross. Grand jury. Why is it? Because that poor witness just didn't. All right, let me do a little bit of this. Whoa. Come on, guys, hit that like button. If we can get 140 likes, that's not a lot to ask. All right, let's look at a little bit here with Trap More, and then we'll move forward.
Attorney Evan Jenis. Jenis apparently represents Morgan Roth. And this is where Silverman allegedly told Jenis that she is going to petition the judge to issue a body attachment. So apparently a legal mechanism to compel a witness, here an unidentified female, to testify before the grand jury, that this person would be taken into custody and brought into this grand jury hearing. Why? Because reportedly this witness just didn't show up to testify. Now, as TMZ reports, they don't know who this person is. They comment that it's interesting. By the way, they say female, so we don't know if we're talking a woman, a minor, we don't know, but female. But TMZ, it's interesting, they're seemingly suggesting that Janice may represent both Morgan Roth and this unidentified female witness. We don't know the apparent connection between the two of them, but obviously this is noteworthy if true.
It's definitely noteworthy, and of noteworthy alleged person, this may well have been possibly, in some people's opinion, allegedly.
Oh, absolutely, guys. Absolutely. Now, I love that Trapmore Ross digs through Reddit. That's like that's his backyard. All right. So, I mean, obviously other people were aware of their relationship, and that's going to come out now. Y'all are going to say, why did so many people know and yet did nothing? And one thing I can say is I wish they would have done something, but nobody, and I mean nobody, could have predicted what David was going to do. Yes, he's a freaking weirdo. Yes, he obsesses over a finger that's mummified, and he likes all this weird shit, right? But normally when people like that stuff, it doesn't mean they're also murderers. It doesn't mean they want to dismember anyone or actually have blood all over them and do this heinous crime. It doesn't typically mean that. All right. Yes, I met Joseph Scott Morgan. We're going to get into that today. We're going to play that because it just came out.
Boom. It was Lane Cooperstein, allegedly, in some people's opinion. All right. This was a picture of her behind the curtain, a very ironic and symbolic place for.
Guys, so we've got Lane Cooperstein. We've got Asia Collins. We've got Neil Langston. We've got his brother. His brother was there. He already said to the public, yeah, I was there with Celeste. I've met her. We've hung out. How many people does it take to come forward, and how much evidence does David really think it's gonna that he's gonna get away with this?
Her to be, okay. So it's all connected, all right. A lot of people thought that was her. Interestingly enough, I mean that was the first time I'm hearing it, but I was hearing people in them comments talking about Celeste was staying with Lane Cooperstein when David wasn't around. What on earth? If that's true, this woman needs to be, at the very least, called in front of some authorities to answer some questions, at the very least, if that's true, which we don't know if it is. Okay, it's been put across. All right, the Doheny location where David was staying was exposed. Celeste's hideout, aka where he did the controversial R word and kid stream with Celeste, the cooking stream. Curiosity spiked for the identity. Who was the woman managing David's streams from that house behind the black curtain? Right, I dug into her previously too. Who is this mystery woman behind the symbolic curtain, the black curtain, the dark room? All right. Anyway, the Super Sleuth caught her name in this interview where he showed his phone. She's part of the Secret Ninjas group chat. Her name is Lane Cooperstein, the general manager of Darkroom. She spearheaded the development of multi-platinum up-and-comer David, including securing a performance at Valentino Men's Fashion Week and his tour announcement with SZA. In the past year, she's built an in-house creator marketing team and an international marketing, and the sentence just ends. I'm sure there's more to it. Why it matters, she was around the house. She probably has knowledge of Celeste. I don't know for sure, but we're seeing other comments now talking about Celeste was bunking up with her. I don't know if I believe that, but hey, let's see how that all shakes out. Now, one of the stronger theories, okay, there were other names that were put forward. Another stronger theory of who that might have been was Bella Bowman. This was identified as a former day-to-day tour manager and project manager at Mogul Vision. Also, the person standing close to Celeste.
Guys, they all knew about it. All of them were in the same presence as her. You can see a picture here, and I did not know who that was until I started looking into it further with Trapmore Ross. So that's a grown-ass woman standing next to a 14-year-old at the time, Celeste Rivas. All right? And he does have he's a little guy with a complex. Let's hit that like. I got my eyes on y'all. Kelsey, what's up? Birthday month, baby. Toledo, heard Michigan, Ash on cars. John Marshall. I know, right? Just Lane behavior all the way. Mama Sage, good to see you. All right, so I mean, we could probably get into this whole episode, but I'm not. I can dig through Reddit myself. Is anyone surprised Neo only testified 30 to 40 minutes? What might it mean? We already know what it meant. After Neo did testify, he went on his platform to say basically fuck David. All right. He called him an asshole or something to that extent. And that was what he did. And what he said was he was trying to make it clear that he didn't know. He's trying to say, I didn't know she was a minor. He's an asshole for doing that. BS. That's bullshit, in my opinion. Drone footage of Celeste Riva's passport. There you go, guys. That's going to be an evidence. So when David went to Santa Barbara, he took that trip to Santa Barbara the night of Celeste's murder, right? He went and dumped a bunch of stuff, and they found her passport out there. I wonder if that is going to be her passport, her 19-year-old self, and her name, Victoria Mendez. What do you guys think? I know, but they knew. That's the wild thing, Mom, is they knew that she was missing and a minor and with David. Law enforcement went to his house. They had their eyes on him, and yet this still happened. It doesn't make sense, and I can't comprehend that. Why didn't they just go in and snatch her ass up and say, you're going home, or put her in juvenile hall? I don't care. There's a drone footage.
See, that kind of zoom in on that, and then I kind of forgot about it because I saw the other one, the other watering hole. So I forgot about this one until now.
That's where he dumped her stuff.
Sub David is guilty.
Evidence.
See, there's my truck. That's where they found the passport. So I'm just kind of seeing around what's around here. Seeing if I spot any trash. See if I spot anything, chainsaw or something, chainsaw box or.
Now, you guys tell me, why didn't he get rid of her body somewhere like over there? Now, I'm not saying that I'm happy if he did or whatever, but did he really keep her body to preserve it for himself so that he could have time to do all these things to her? I mean, I just want to know. By the way, I'm innocent, Neil Langston, right? All right. So look, Mark the Shark's out there. He's been covering it, boots on the ground. That's where he dumped her passport and purse, etc. How in the hell did he do that, but then kept her body? I don't understand anything that this guy did. It must be just out of pure ego. All right. Well, this is what's happening to him next. Check this out. I played this before, and this is David. This is him coming up, right? It's a complete fail. This is representative of what's happening to David next, right? This was him recording it. He was at Coachella, and he tried to do his little parkour flips, and he fell on his face. So, good. This is what you're going to see in the trial as well. All right. I don't know. He's stupid, but that's you're going to see it go down just like that. And he's going to be locked away, and he's never going to get out because he is not as smart as he thinks he is, or rich, or famous, or whatever the hell he thinks. All right, let's do this. You know what? Let me do this real quick because I wanted to talk about this before we get into the Joseph Scott body bags episode about the medical examiner reports that allegedly leaked. Okay, so why is this important? The case against David continues to escalate as prosecutors prepare for the July 21st preliminary hearing. All right, over the past several weeks, the case has drawn heightened attention due to the leaked grand jury testimony and newly surfaced investigative materials. While the court has not officially commented on the leak, legal analysts note that the unauthorized disclosure can complicate pretrial strategy for both sides, all right? Especially this case is already in public scrutiny, and it has been long before law enforcement did anything. Now, July 21st, why it matters, because it's a preliminary hearing that's going to say we have enough evidence or probable cause hearing to move forward with the trial. Prosecutors must show evidence to justify moving the case forward. I'm sure they will. The defense gets its first real opportunity to challenge the strength of the state's evidence, and the judge will decide whether the charges will be bound over for trial. All right, what are we going to expect next week? Key witness statements, not necessarily them testifying, but their statements. Portions of investigative reports, any physical or digital evidence they believe that will establish probable cause. And then the defense pushback, right? They're going to challenge the credibility of the witnesses. They're going to argue that the leaked testimony was misinterpreted or incomplete. They're going to attempt to suppress certain evidence. You guys know that. And they're going to highlight inconsistencies in the state's timeline to say he didn't do it. Now, possible rulings next week will be to bind the case over for trial. That's the most common. They can reduce or modify charges at that time, or they can dismiss the case if evidence is insufficient. Rare, but possible. All right. I don't ever see this happening. Now, new files or motions, given the recent leak, motions regarding prejudicial pretrial publicity, requests for protective orders, and challenges to how certain evidence was obtained. All right. The bigger picture, the leaked grand jury testimony has intensified public interest, but legally, the preliminary hearing is the first moment where the court itself will evaluate the strengths of this case. All right. So this meaning they're going to have formal arraignment on trial charges, pretrial motions, discovery battles, potential plea negotiations, and trial scheduling. Guys, I don't know how that's going to happen in 3 days, but I mean, I guess we'll see. Right. All right, one more of him major fail, and then we're going to talk about the medical examiner leak and everything else. So there's David. That's what's going to happen on the 21st, in my opinion. So many people knew. And I wonder what that's going to say. She didn't look like 13. She didn't look like 15, however, when she was 13. When you look at the images of Celeste at 13 and 11 and 12, she looked like the little girl on the upper top, almost left-hand side. That's what she looked like at 11, then 12, then 13. Remember, she died and then turned 15. She wasn't 15. She wasn't ever 15. She was, but she was taken. Her life was taken prior to. All right. She would have been 15, but she never made it. So hopefully David crashes and burns just like we see in that video. All right, now let's talk about the medical examiner leak and everything that comes along with it without Nancy Grace. All right, I do love Joseph Scott Morgan. I met him at the show. He's super tall. All right, he's nice too. I don't know why Nancy does that, but I think it's all for show, guys. All right, let's get into this.
The way to, as they say, church this up or paint it in a different light. We're talking about a child, and these horrific things were done to her.
Hold on,
And I think that, based upon that and thinking about the devastation that first off was wrought against this child.
All right, guys, I'm going to gift a membership right now. So do me a favor and hit the like button if you haven't. Drop a comment so that you can win a membership. If you do win one, that'd be awesome to come out and say hi to us.
And then concurrently, regardless of what you think about her family, upon her family, and everyone else associated in this case, can we go any further down? Well, it would appear if that's not enough on your plate, it would appear that there is currently an ongoing investigation. Now, I think at this point it is what's referred to as an HR investigation, human resources within the county of Los Angeles.
All right, there's that gifted membership. If you receive that membership, come out and say hello. If you want to gift a membership with me, you want to match this membership, come on, let's match the membership. There's a bunch of people in here that aren't in the green. Cheeto, Crazy Jane, heard rumors about the gag order in the Siders case. That is true. Crazy Jane, is absolutely true. The last episode that I did, as a matter of fact, on the cover, they all have duct tape on their mouths, which is symbolic for me of a gag order in the case. So yes, that is the answer. Caritas, hello, and Kat Mendez. I know, right? 11-year-olds be running amok. Nina Drew. All right. The rumors her mom was getting paid off, but who knows? Well, I think that it wasn't a direct payoff. Let me have your daughter. But it was alleged that David was giving them some kind of financial help. And we're going to find out, I hope. Maybe in the court records, we will see that. Right? Love seeing the green. Me too. That's my favorite color. Literally, not even all jokes aside.
Based upon information that has allegedly been released by the coroner medical examiner's office personnel. That's what has been stated in the news. And so for me,
Yay!
this kind of, in one way, it kind of hits close to home because I understand that dynamic. That's why I was talking about this kind of fracturing thing. Can just let me step back just a second and kind of let's all contemplate this just one moment. Let's just say that there's a case that happens right now as we're speaking in Los Angeles. And it is a very gruesome homicide. Okay. So you've got the PD that is out there, the Los Angeles Police Department. Maybe you've got one or two bodies. It's a highly complex case. And oh, by the by, you know that you are compelled by law to contact the coroner medical examiner, and their representative is going to show up at the scene. That is the investigator, their livery service, or the driver. They'll come out to the scene. They're going to conduct a separate investigation.
Sometimes YouTube will do a weird update, Nina Drew, and then a membership won't be available. After the episode and everything, you should, or I mean, you could do it now. You can refresh. If you can't do a membership, if you want to send me a super chat, I'll be happy to do a membership for you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Either way, you're always so nice to me. So you don't have to do any of that, but I do appreciate it. And these people appreciate getting in the green, because Monday, members only Monday, when we give gifts away, it's only for members. Can you do a show on Sebastian's dad? Pink Butterfly, my girl. I did it yesterday. Well, one of you guys drop the link in chat so Pink Butterfly can go back and watch my Sebastian show. That, by the way, I feel like we did a really good job covering that yesterday with the information we had. Now, I do have it. Thank you to Holly. Holly sent me over the full documentation, the full lawsuit information. So maybe you're referring to, you want me to read the lawsuit to you guys, but I did cover all that needs to be without having it yesterday. Right, guys? Right. Okay. Yeah, I did cover it, Pink Butterfly. Thanks. And guys, there's so much to watch this weekend. If you can't find anything to watch, go back to my channel. I have over 2,000 videos that you can watch. All right. I think Neil was his lover. I'm going to say, in my opinion, two little gay boys just doing gay boy things and doing drugs and whatever else they wanted. Again, I don't know if he's bisexual or what, but I'm sure him and David fooled around. We would see them. He wore a shirt that was like, what did the shirt say? It's so gay, I'm in, or something like that. Whatever. Yeah, I'm sure they were together at some point sexually.
On their own to do observations of the body, assess trauma, take photographs, do all that stuff that we talk about on body bags. But Dave, here's the thing. Can you imagine showing up at that scene with this news having dropped, okay, recently, and maybe the investigators that were working on the Rivas case show up out there? Now, how do you think, and this is a legitimate question, this is not hypothetical, how do you think that those investigators are going to view the ME personnel, who these ME personnel that show up out there might not have anything to do with this alleged leak? All right,
guys, there was a leak, and medical examiner, the medical examiner has a leak allegedly. Now, I got to shout out, and you guys all shout out to 94-year-old mom Alicia. Alicia, we love you. I love that Alicia is watching our channel and thanks us for the membership. Well, shout out, give mom Alicia, your mom Alicia, a big hug for us and tell her we love her. Sounds gay, I'm in. I mean, that'd be something I'd say. I have a shirt that says sounds gay, I'm in, right? It's like a tie-dye rainbow shirt. Not that I'd ever wear it, but it says the same thing. Allegedly. Yeah, allegedly. There's so many unsolved crimes. There's not enough time to check them all out. I know, right? Thank you, Jen Johnson. I appreciate that. Shout out also to your 94-year-old mother. Tell her to keep on rocking. All right? Let's keep on coming back and watching.
But how do you think they're going to be viewed at that moment in time?
Okay, to make it a little understandable for those who might be coming late to the party, Joe, when we were covering this case, and as I mentioned, we started covering it before the body was identified.
Yeah.
You know, if you remember,
Yep.
we were getting information, and it was coming from TMZ and Harvey Levin and his team.
Yep.
They were the ones that allegedly called Celeste Rivas' mother and identified specific tattoos.
Hey, Cool and Chris.
You remember. And I'm trying to think, Joe, that when we were talking amongst ourselves, we were wondering how they're either getting this information from somebody, either in the police department, in the medical examiner's office. Somebody is giving this information out and it's being used by the media, or somebody's making it up. And the thought of somebody making it up freaked me out, because I actually was very concerned about that. Because making it up is as bad as a leak.
Yeah, because I got to tell you, there's a darkness to the making up part, because as information has now come out about some of the things that he involved himself in, some of the imagery and all that stuff.
Now, remember, we hadn't even talked about him being the ultimate pedo. They found CSAM on his device, on his phone, on his iCloud, whatever. He knew he was going to get arrested, guys. This is how confident and cocky that David really is, right? This investigation, we all knew he was going to get arrested. We all knew, at the very least, law enforcement was going to approach him because they found a body, a dismembered body, in his trunk. Now, let's pretend like it wasn't even identified. Listen, guy, you're on tour doing shitty backflips with shitty music, and law enforcement finds a badly decomposed body in a car that's rented to you around the block from the house that's also rented to you. So you don't think that you can try to get rid of some of the evidence? I mean, I'm glad he didn't, but that's how confident and cocky he really is. And mind you, not only did he have CSAM, that also was more than just Celeste, guys. It wasn't just Celeste. There's other victims in there. I don't know if it was a personal victim that he assaulted, or if it was something that he traded on the internet for Celeste, right? Either way, it's bad. But he did this to her body. Her body was not even found in complete parts. There's still pieces of the leg and pieces of the arm that were missing, along with that damn finger that said David on the marriage finger. What did he think he was going to do with it? And I wonder, did they find it, guys? If he kept it like rumors speculate, did they find it? I'm curious if they're going to find it, if they found it in his belongings.
That's dark enough. Now, if you've got someone else that might be making things up, and to make up the stories that we've heard to this point, as far as descriptors and all these sorts of things. Now, we do have confirmatory information vis-a-vis the autopsy report, and I've read it extensively. But just a thought that someone would perhaps involve themselves in maybe making something up, particularly for personal enrichment, at the risk of blowing this case. There's, that's another dark rabbit hole you wind up going down, with this. And Dave, the thing about it, brother, is that this information was actually very specific to what was kind of confirmatory relative to the information that was coming through.
Joe, as we're looking at this investigation into multiple layers of departments, okay, where does the investigation begin? I have to wonder, because we know information was getting outed. Somebody was passing along information, and it's like either it's being made up in a room with people in the media, or it's being willfully distributed by somebody in the know. How do you figure it out? How do you know in the department who is leaking the information, and how do you go about finding out?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And now we're kind of getting into the gut, which is something we've really never done, is getting into the guts of how Emmy's offices are administrated, and just so we can get the structure really quick. We have a chief medical examiner, coroner, who lords over everything. And that
now, guys, we're not getting the complete picture, and we shouldn't until it all comes out, right? I don't know if it's ever going to be unsealed, because this is pretty bad. But law enforcement, I should say prosecution, is going to show these things and what he did to her body allegedly. All right, that's going to come out. There's going to be pictures inside of the trunk. There's going to be pictures inside of the body bags before. Remember, the body bag on the top, guys, had her torso and her head. The trash bag on the bottom had limbs, arms and legs, but they were missing. Some parts were missing. What the hell did he do with those missing parts? Maggie says, Mimi, please, Mimi. All right. So what's going to happen with that, and how's it going to come out? When I hear Joseph Scott Morgan talking about medical examiner or coroner and possible leaks, obviously I go back to the autopsy, right?
Environment. And then there are deputy medical examiners that are there as well. They may refer to them as deputy coroners. And then you're going to have people that manage the morgue. Okay. And they have very specific roles. I mean, everybody that does intake, release, you have, I think with LA County, they actually have drivers or livery people, that go out and pick up bodies. Then you have people that control the morgue techs that work in the morgue, that actually are hands-on with the autopsies, doing everything from x-rays, evidence collection, the whole nine. You'll have a staff of photographers. I'm just kind of laying this out so people understand how it works.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah. And then you might have a toxicology section, which is a separate forensics area, histology, does tissue.
Has anyone seen this episode yet? I tried to do this because it dropped 21 hours ago. And Joseph Scott Morgan is building up his Body Bags channel, and he's a great guy, in my opinion. So I'm like, hey, let's play his episode. And guys, go sub up to him. Go sub up to him. He's great. You guys know that. We only get snippets of him on the Nancy Grace show. And we want Joseph Scott Morgan. All right, so Luna, I guarantee he saved trophies of his accomplishment. Right. That's probably why he had all that CSAM too. Oh, Foxy is in Los Angeles. She can go. You can go. Los Angeles is like 7 hours for me, so I guess it depends when the trial is. All right. You think he's going to flip his plea? I don't think so. I think he's way too cocky. Have you seen him, or have you heard the rumors about him in court and how cocky he's been lately? He's got his goatee all shaved up on point, his hair good now, and he was actually kind of happy and smiling, almost smug in court the last time, from what I hear.
So you'll have this whole group of people, and depending upon how big the office is, you can actually be tied specifically to a forensics lab that'll do things like tool mark examination and fiber evidence and all that. So whenever this came to light, whenever they got
guys,
evidence of this,
my computer,
that there was some kind of leak going on, this is what would have happened. I think you would have had, because they would have had a name of like any of the principals or suspected principals that might be involved, that might have contributed to a leak. So their first line supervisors.
I really hope that they don't find an actual leak that was on purpose, because I don't want that to hinder this case. We need justice for Celeste, and who knows how many other victims. Guys, also, David is going to be used as an example. Think about how many decades we've been alive, right? Especially, where's my friend that calls me an OG? I'm an OG. I've been alive a bunch of decades. And in those decades, we've seen everybody in Hollywood almost get away with what they've done. It's not until now that we've had some pushback on these CSAM that, well, frankly, has been done for years in the Hollywood scene, and nobody's ever gotten in trouble. I really watch this stuff about David. I feel like it's a lot, and I'm so far behind. Well, I'm glad you come here for that, because I can put it all together for you, and you don't have to dig. I watched it, but it was hard to get through. All right. And I don't know. David is violent. David, for violent death. He wants to be famous. All right, let's continue.
Would have gone in probably and said, look, is anybody releasing any of this information?
I hope
and
not.
Then once they started to catch the smell of something was rotten, then they're like, hang on, we got to back off. Because you know what's one of the interesting things that I heard in the news that dropped about this? What? They said their union rep is very concerned with the protection of Celeste memory, and how the investigation is going and all this sort of thing. So now we've gotten into this realm, and on top of that, they've backed off, and now HR with LA County. And I know this is very dry stuff for people, but I don't think people understand how impactful this is. So now you've got this other party, which is an HR group of people that are going to come in a county the size of LA. HR probably has its own investigators, I would imagine. And they're going to come in and they'll begin to question stuff. Now, all of this is not necessarily a criminal investigation at this time.
Well, we didn't think Kohberger was going to plea. I actually did. I actually believed that Kohberger was guilty the entire time and that he was going to plead guilty. I didn't think there was going to be a trial in that case. Now, in this case, The only reason I do is because it's moving so quickly, and David is so cocky that he's not going to want to sit there and be like, okay, fine, I'm going to admit to these things and take a 15 to 20 year plea deal. No, he thinks that he's going to get off on this. And yeah, Jamie, the OJ Simpson thing, as a matter of fact, that's what Body Bags called. That was the name of their episode. Shocking leaks. David could walk like OJ. I don't think so. I think he's going to be made an example of, and he better get ready for that.
But it can be referred if anything is turned up. And let me give you an example of stuff that is turned up. If there has been any information relative to this case that has been bought and sold, Lord help you. Lord help you, because the DA is going to take a definite interest in this. Not to mention, this can potentially, see, how can I say this? This actually borders on the idea that you're interfering with an ongoing homicide investigation. Right. All right. So
now I can see why Nancy comes in here and swats him. Of course, it's for the show, but I've got Joseph Scott Morgan sped up to between 1.15 and 1.25. And he's just such a nice guy. And the way he explains it, it's like, do. Nancy's like, come on, get with it. What are you trying to say, buddy? Get it out. That's why. It's all for the show. But that's why I keep speeding him up, because it's like, we love what you're saying, but come on, let's get to it.
This is dangerous stuff for anybody that's involved themselves in it. And then you take the bigger view and you think, well, all that aside, personal punishments or whatever's going to be meted out over this, you're talking about train wrecking a case that is so incredibly complex, with the movement of remains after death, decomposition. We're talking about trying to assess injuries because of that decomposition. We're trying to tie down timelines and all this stuff. And Dave, from a criminal, from the perspective of those that inhabit the courtroom and work and move in there, it only takes one thing. It only takes one thing to form reasonable doubt. Yep. And so if that little bit of fruit, it spoils the vine, right? You know, when you think about that. And so this could.
And I wonder if he's actually going to come out as a defense and say, that wasn't me that ordered that. It was Victoria Mendez. I just let her use my credit card. All right. I don't know what his defense is going to be, but you guys, now that we got this up there, if you're an OG, drop a 1 in chat. I just want to see who's an OG. An OG allegedly to Nikki is somebody that's 40 and up. I know that is rude. She's rude, but I think it's part of the show. If you're an OG 40 years and older, put 1 in chat. I'm just curious. I'll be 47 next week, July 25th. I guess it's like a week away. All right. Rebecca, good to see you, my friend. We got some OGs in the house. Cool and Chris, Michelle. Oh, yeah. Mama Pearl, of course. Crazy Jane, Sharon Harris, Inquisitive P, Rebecca, Nikki, you're an OG. Callie. All right, let's continue.
This could be problematic, to say the very least, moving forward.
All right, what do we got here?
These living gloves. You remember Playtex gloves? They called them the living gloves, you know, and they're bright yellow, so blood would contrast. Well, he was seated. He was seated on a stool adjacent to us while we were working the case, and I broke out the bone saw. And that high-pitched sound, you know, I looked over and I could see he was diaphoretic. He had like beads of sweat. Gray was turning gray, and he was like kind of wobbling back and forth on the stool. And I hear him say, "Oh my God," like that. And he turns and goes down the hallway right behind me, which is where the shower and the changing area is. And all of a sudden I heard ka-thunk. And I went back there, and it's this old ancient tiled wall and floor in this old hospital. You've seen it before, that kind of green color tile, you know, that they had in all these things. And he is sitting back there, and Gray would dress immaculately, tailored suit, silk shirt, silk tie.
I'm going to go off fat passes because I don't know what, earlier I listened to this, like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Between the Detective Bureau, CID, however you want to frame it, and the Medical Legal Authority, okay? And it is a relationship of dependency because of information, you know, where you're exchanging information back and forth. It's kind of like an old phone line.
So maybe that's how it got out, right? Somebody that just worked there with them intentionally leaked it. Yeah, Mr. Bot, it's the weirdest thing. He loves female Spanish girls that look like Celeste. All of the women that surrounded him either look like Celeste or freaking name Celeste. And then he puts Victoria Mendez, which, guys, I'm going to speculate now that Victoria Mendez was the name that he used on her fake ID and passport. A sea of OGs. I told you, where's my girl Tiff? I was telling my girl Tiff what our demographic is. That way, guys, when we drop the merch link, have you dropped the merchandise link today, Tiff? It caters to the OGs. All right. Forever 35 though, right? Thank you. Cheeky, following us since the beginning. And Madeline Soto. And you're my first and one and only subber. Thank you. HB Lab Rots, an OG of Huntington Beach. 42. You're 42? Or you're 420. Okay. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? All right. He didn't want the death penalty. That's why. But I don't think David really thinks they're going to give him the death penalty because of California, and it's paused right now. Moratorium. All right. Let's continue.
Cut that or damage it in any way, you're not going to have a free flow of information, and information is what we exist. That is the blood that flows through the veins of any kind of investigation, particularly as it involves a homicide, Dave.
Well, the thing that everyone, I think, is deeply concerned about is that as this case is coming together, the investigation, they were able to pull together fairly quickly a timeline of the relationship between Burke and Celeste Rivas.
Yeah.
I believe that they have proved that Burke was involved in an online relationship with Celeste when she was 11.
Yeah.
But the law enforcement is saying they did not engage in sexual relations until she was older. But regardless,
older. And again, guys, just take this, think about it this way. We've been covering the Siders case. Before I do that, I wanted to shout out to your son. Happy birthday month. Tell your son I said happy birthday month, July 25th. That means he's got the same birthday as me. Like it. Now, my anniversary is July 27th. So it always overtakes my birthday. So I just do it for the whole month. 21st anniversary this year. 21 years together and 18 years married, and I'll be 47 on July 25th. So there you go. My girl Tiff is a baby. She's almost 10 years younger than all of us, right? Well, no, because Foxy's 42. I guess I'm the OG, right? Synth isn't here, but she's the OG. 420 gift. It's not 420 anymore. Be in court July 25th. Oh, really? Oh my God, I got to cover that case again because the toxicology report came back, Crazy Jane.
Realize that we are dealing with a timeline.
You're a Cancer, Miss Joy.
Will factor into this discussion, okay? Coming up on the 21st, there's going to be another week of testimony, and this is going to be a preliminary hearing, not that dissimilar from the Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson hearing that happened last week. And in this hearing, the prosecution is going to be laying out the information they have to get a judge to determine, do we have enough information to move forward with the prosecution or not? The defense will have the chance to pick apart these things. And that's where all of this comes in. I can have a timeline put together showing you where they knew one another online, Joe. I can have evidence, electronic. We've got over 40 terabytes of information. And most of it is digital in terms of, when I say digital, I'm talking about communication online through gaming and other resources like that. But dude, you realize that shows they were in communication and nothing more.
No.
It shows that they were talking online, nothing more. Even a video showing the two of them together shows two people who...
Now, maybe that's going to be his defense. That's what he thinks it's going to be. But guys, when those 40 terabytes, and I don't think it's a full 40 terabytes. I think what they're talking about was that they got it and it was a 40 terabyte drive, right? Again, same thing. Koberger, right? HB, you got to celebrate yourself, girl. You used to have a birthday month, and now you prefer flipping the calendar? No way. No way. Never. I hope I turn 80 years old. And when I do, I'm still going to have a birthday month. All right. Cause I'm a Leo and that's what Leos do. Devilman. Thank you, Jay. I'll tell him happy birthday as well. My sister and I turned 47, June 23rd. And now we did our first ever live stream on YouTube channel. Well, thank you. Happy birthday to your son. Happy late birthday to you. And I believe you're either Gemini or a Cancer, right? All right, let's continue. I don't think Foxy's doing a 420 today. But I did gift a membership earlier. I know. Listen, you're right. Flojo says, imagine all the Fortnite / Roblox combos they have subpoenaed. They do have a total of 54 search warrants, so that's a ton of stuff. It's a ton of evidence, guys. Ton of it. And no one's going to want to see that because there's a lot of CSAM and inappropriate. Well, most of it's inappropriate, I'm sure.
We have something in common in terms of gaming or music, and they're together. But it's the nitty gritty here. It is all of the things right now that we're talking about that have been leaked to the media, stuff that nobody should have known, that only the people in charge of the investigation and those doing, from an autopsy to picking up evidence at the scene.
Yeah.
This is information that we're not supposed to just have at our fingertips.
Let me ask you, do you recall, I'm stating kind of the obvious, do you recall the conversation we had when this information came out? We actually asked one another at that point in time, what's the source of this information? Because it seems so odd.
It was too much.
This dump of information just came out.
Not only that, guys, but do you think that it's a big deal whether she was frozen or not? We have conflicting information about Celeste's body being froze prior to. And I've always thought that it wasn't necessarily frozen, because when you see the way media translate things, it goes from, in a cool place to her body was frozen and then cut up. So we're actually going to find out here how he kept her body for so long before dismembering, and what did he do with her body between the time of dismemberment and the car, right? We talk about the bathroom smelling and him covering up. Was the body in the bathroom or in the shower? I am almost born on a cusp. My birthday is July 25th. Cancers end July 23rd. So the 24th and the 25th are kind of the cusp, but I am absolutely a Leo. No doubt about that. Maybe, yeah, I think she was refrigerated too. Which refrigerator was she in? Is there going to be evidence of decomp in the Dippin' Dots little freezer refrigerator they have? I have a lot of questions. 7/27, yes, a whole month, birthday month, baby. He had a Dippin' Dots freezer, and he used the excuse that he just loved Dippin' Dots so much that he wanted that freezer there. So we'll see. Said her body was in a basement. Didn't hear he bought a freezer. He did. He had a Dippin' Dots freezer in the house. It wasn't a complete makeup. Trust me. All right.
Out of the blue, brother. And we were sitting there thinking.
No, you're right. You say out of the blue. It did. It came. There was no warning. It was like all of a sudden there is very specific information that had to have been real.
Yeah.
From inside the room that actually laid eyes on a report or on the body, on the remains. Right. I mean, friends, this information that we were seeing, it really was. It had to either be real or the most made up, sick, twisted stuff of all time.
You know what particularly concerns me here, Dave? Well, there's a myriad of things, but I hope that people don't misconstrue this as thinking, well, this is just written down data.
Oh, goodness. Okay?
Because I cannot begin to describe to you the level of documentation that goes on at an ME's office. And what I'm saying is I'm talking about photography. Both at the scene, which we know for a fact that there was an ME investigator at the scene. Now, I'm not saying in any way that person was involved in this at all. Please understand that to begin with. But they captured images out there. Those images were brought back to the coroner medical examiner's office. Why are they brought back? Well, I'll tell you. Well, there's a reason they take them. It's because the forensic pathologist is not at the scene. The ME investigator is the eyes and the ears okay, in the hands of the forensic pathologists in the field that collect this data, because, we talk a lot about contextualization here, and how you lose the plot. That's the term that people use many times. But for medical examiner personnel, you have to be able, as an investigator, to transport the forensic pathologist out there in documentation, whether it's photography, measurements, or a report, and then one-on-one conversation. So that data comes into the office, and then anything that is collected back into the morgue. Now there is a central file that all this data is, and Celeste has and you can, I don't have it off the top of my head, but if you look at her autopsy report, she has a specific case number. When you take that case.
Oh, I just haven't got that much into coroners, medical examiners, and what they do, because frankly, I would never be able to do any of that. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. So I'm glad he's breaking this down, but look at this. So that way you can see that there is a case number on the upper right-hand side. Now, when we saw the Tesla and we actually saw the coroner out there, right? Going to the Tesla, getting the body bags, the body parts, whatever, and documenting what they need to for this case. Golden hen, abuse of a body. Yes, need an overhaul on the law. One could argue that the founding fathers' original intent does not apply to modern violent crimes. The mechanics, scale, and nature of violence in 2026 didn't exist in their time. I couldn't have said that better. I always try to say this, and I couldn't have said it better. So, number one, thank you for the 1999 super chat. And number two, this is always what I'm trying to say. The law is not up to speed with what we're doing in 2026 at all. All right. Not even a little bit. Now, let me just go back to this for a second. I didn't even catch that. I just saw a video that it's all excited coming out about what I showed you. They did a whole video on this, and I didn't catch that down here. It says, thanks, Celeste, for choosing United. And up here, I was looking at this, and I looked at the customer information, and I looked at the billing address, but what I didn't look at, it says important information about your child's flight reservation. Right at the top, it says important information about a reservation for a child. We noticed that your child is booked an upcoming flight, but the reservation doesn't include an adult aged 18 or over. For their safety, children between 5 and 14 will fly on their own, are required to travel with or unaccompanied minor service. We offer unaccompanied minor service, blah, 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 blah. And then it goes into child traveling, what you got to do when a child travels. Then we've got the address of the shipping and billing. It goes back to Victoria Mendez at the house that he was staying in and his billing address for his credit card in Texas. And then down here, it says, thanks to Celeste for choosing, and that gives you the confirmation number, $923. Now, remember, they also have a taxi driver or an Uber driver that picked up Celeste at her house all the way in wherever she was, Los Angeles, or it wasn't Los Angeles, it's a town outside of Los Angeles, to him at that house. So he probably paid a good $300-400 for her to take a ride. And then he also paid almost $1,000 to fly from her house or wherever she was, all the way to Texas. All right. So that's crazy. I mean, how much more evidence how much evidence do we actually need here? That's just a little bit of evidence, and it's not circumstantial by any means.
Case number. Most of the time at ME's office, they refer to that not as a case number, but as an accession number. An accession number is it goes to the body itself. That means that accession number is tied to her remains. So that file would be collected there, and it's bundled. And you might have multiple files within the big file. I'm not a computer guy, but that's the way it works. And so you might have scene images, autopsy.
Yeah, he goes very detailed. He's telling us what his computer looks like. Now, okay, Andrew Luke or Luce, whatever. So I didn't know the Dippin' Dots freezer was still in the box like the incinerator. I didn't realize that. Now, the incinerator he had wasn't used. It was still in the box. I don't think that he could have used that out there in LA and got away with that whatsoever. But the Dippin' Dots freezer, I didn't know it was still in the box. So I think that she wasn't frozen. I think she was just kept somewhere cool until he was able to take the time and dispose of her with that little kiddie pool. And I think he took joy in that, guys. He fantasized about that. Thank you so much for the love and the $4.99 super sticker. Thank you. She's in Lake Elsinore to San Bernardino County. That's going to be a good, expensive ride. I know. It's crazy. I want to know all of it. Let's talk about what's on your computer, Joseph Scott Morgan. He's telling us it's down to the level of detail in the files that he opened. That's funny.
The images, okay? You can click on that and then it populates that area. So one of the things that's really troubling here is, and this is purely hypothetical on my part,
Steve.
But you have to ask this question. I guarantee you.
Happy Friday, everybody. I got to call out Steve. We always get these weird names, Vincent or Steve. There's Vincent. Vincent says, every time Jay has a big plate of cheeseburgers and fries, she can fart the song to Stairway to Heaven. Right? There's Steve. We knew we were missing him, guys. These people, how many, Vincent and Steve, and what are the other ones? How many accounts do you have? You just keep getting blocked. Man, it must be tough. It must be tough to keep getting banned and having to make a new damn. Try again. He loved Dippin' Dots because he liked dipping in tots. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Yeah, Steve sucks. Goodbye. 133. Hit that like button, guys. Subscribe if you haven't. And get a membership if you can. Not Stairway to Heaven. That's a long song. I am very talented. I got to say that. Thank you. I know Vincent always comes in here and talks about farts. Jay and farts. That's the funniest thing ever. Who doesn't think farts are funny? So thank you to Vincent and Steve for making us laugh. Right? Happy Friday, Tiffany Louise Lopez. Who's next? Bob the Builder? Nah, I just timed him out. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a laugh because it's funny when trolls come in here and they say shit like that and then they just get booted out anyway, right? Steve/Vincent, go play in your corner with your clothes. All right, let's continue. Joseph Scott Morgan.
An HR investigator is going to ask it. You know who else is going to ask it? It's going to be a DA and their staff, and also homicide after they get through cussing a Blue Streak, which they're probably still cussing a Blue Streak to this point. Gosh. So you've got all that data. I'm going to be interested to see as we move forward.
I know. That's why I'm saying thanks,
because they keep talking about leaks. I wonder if there is anything out there that's going to float onto the internet. And listen, we deal in a world, Brother Dave, that is connected from here to the Far East, to South America, to Russia, to everywhere. All it would take is for data to be sent to some bad actor. They can release it from that location. You know, I actually had a case in Atlanta many, many years ago where an Atlanta firefighter took a picture of a body that was impaled on a post.
Damn.
Guess what? That image.
You're right. You know what? And guys, what he's talking about is interesting to me. I'm just getting sidetracked for a second. Just because it's Friday, right? I love him telling these stories, and he's right about, remember Maddie got a picture taken of her from the sheriff, and it leaked. Maddie's body, a picture of Maddie's body leaked on the sheriff's Instagram. So, I mean, that happens. And next time, Nikki, okay, listen, guys, my whole crime crew, here's my new rule. From now on, if you come in here as Vincent or Steve or whoever, I'm only going to post your comment if you are a paying member or if you throw a super chat down for $5 or more. All right, how about that? Steve, you only get fart jokes if you're going to pay for them. All right, otherwise it's my show and I get to tell the jokes around here. I know fart jokes are funny though, definitely funny. Always laugh at fart jokes.
Originated, was sent back to the US and put, I think it was on rotten.com when that still existed.
Oh my God. You remember rotten.com?
That entity was in Germany and it wound up on the internet back in the internet's infancy. And so don't tell me that things can't be disseminated kind of through the back door and sent all over the place. So the question is, I think.
I love it. And we'll listen to the question. I'll get back to it, but rotten.com. Guys, this was before. I mean, this was like Napster time. Do you guys remember rotten.com? It's the only like platform that you could find some really grotesque, messed up shit. And now it's everywhere. Go to Reddit, go to anywhere, and you're going to find that. Rotten.com and Napster, baby. Boys in general love farts. They love fart jokes. I know we tell Alexa, make fart sounds, and she does, and it's funny, and we laugh. So from now on, all the Steves got to pay us if they want to have stupid comments.
What is floating around out there? And then to a bigger question, boy, I'm on a soapbox now. I'm sorry, but
what's floating around?
Bigger question is, there's been so much made about this in the media.
Yeah.
You talk about tainting the pool, because we're not even at the point of a jury selection now. What's happening on the 21st? It's like, that day is going to be another hearing, right?
It is a hearing where everybody, you just present before a judge. And the idea is, do we have enough evidence from the prosecutorial standpoint to move forward? And then the defense answers each one of these things brought up by the prosecution. And the judge alone will decide whether or not this case if there's enough evidence. Did D4VD do this or not? Is not decided. Guilt or innocence is not decided. It's merely a matter of, do we have enough evidence to move forward with finding out everything? And the problem with these ideas of a leak, Joe, is what you were mentioning a second ago. And it's really simple, friends. When it comes down to reasonable doubt, okay, I mentioned how we can put them in the same room. We can put Joe and I can. You probably can, guys. Y'all, we could all right now put Celeste Rivas Hernandez and D4VD Burke in the same room. We can see on video her running to meet him.
Right, peekaboo.
That last morning she was skedaddling away from home, runs by the liquor store and picks her up.
Because he looks
we can
like
see the area where his car was parked, where he paid kids off to sneak a phone to her.
Look at that.
We've got all of this.
Listen, guys, there's more and more evidence. I mean, I should have done a sheet. I should have done a document of all the evidence that they allegedly have in this case. But I do want you guys to say a prayer with me that on July 21st, that we get justice for Celeste Rivas by moving this case forward. Let's pray that nothing happens that's gonna hinder this or put it back to where the judge says, no, I don't think that's going to be the case, but it's a possibility. And that the defense is going to file a motion to dismiss this case based on some bullshit. All right. That always happens. They got to take their swing. They got to take a swing at it and say, Judge, I would like to dismiss this whole case based on, and you're waiting there, you're looking at the judge like, come on, Judge, don't do that to me. Don't do me dirty like that. All right. Mercury retrograde ends the 24th. That's like the last day of the preliminary hearing. So pray that justice for Celeste Rivas starts on July 21st, or I should say continues, because they have been working toward that.
But you know what? None of that means D4VD Burke cut her up. It doesn't mean that he ended her and then took her apart. It doesn't mean any of that. It doesn't prove any of that. It does prove that something was going on between the two of them, that they knew one another. But hey, man, you know what? They could have just been friends. He's a big older brother to her. He provides her with some things that there are innocent explanations for things, friends, and you have to take that into consideration. And because somebody in that office leaked information to the media and it now is tainted evidence and is tossed,
just fire
you lose the evidence that actually could link killer and victim.
There you go. I hope
you really do. And as we've mentioned on body bags, lo these many years, the body is the central bit of evidence that you have in any case. And you know what? The courts, lawyers, they even have a specific term for it. It's called the corpus delicti, the body of the evidence. And that is what is at risk here.
The body of evidence, corpus delicti. Hold on. Sorry, guys. He's such a badass. He's also like 6'4". I know I'm really short, but he's really tall. He's like a big teddy bear.
As I'm looking for over the next few days, and just call me Leary. I'm really wondering, because this date has been set, I'm really wondering if we're going to see this thing get pushed. If it's actually going to transpire on the 21st.
You got to remember, Joe, that on July 7th, a status conference was called and everybody showed up. Everybody being the prosecution and the defense, They stood in front of the judge and he queried them. Are you ready to move forward with this, the hearing to determine, and they all said, yeah, we're ready. Let's go. I mean, there's so much evidence here that this was a reasonable question to ask at the status conference, Joe. The judge, I'm sure, was expecting to hear we're ready to move forward with the preliminary hearing, but he had to hear it from both sides, and they both said, yes, we're ready to move forward. But Joe, we were going over this earlier, the expected evidence in the day one. Okay, you got to remember, day one, you're going to lay out your case. You're basically giving the judge, here's why we did what we did.
All right, before we get to that, Chud the Builder, unless you guys see it, I don't know what this guy is. They said at the very beginning, I don't know if he's on the body bag show or what. But what I was going to say, hold on, I can look here. Body bags with Joseph Scott Morgan. It doesn't say. I don't know. If anyone knows, let me know. I didn't watch the first 5 minutes. I fast forwarded it to get you guys to what we needed to hear. So I don't know. Dave Mack. Thank you. Thank you. Dave Mack. All right. Appreciate it, guys.
Here's the evidence we had that caused us to believe this.
Oh, no Chud the Builder. Nothing. Unless you guys see something or know, let me know. But right now, nothing has happened in Chud the Builder case that I can see. It says the last date of anything was freaking May 13th, and he was denied bond. But yeah, if anyone knows anything about Chud the Builder, I don't see a damn thing. I know there's going to be multiple hearings coming up that are pending, but I don't know when because they still have to schedule those. So yeah, nothing on Chud the Builder. Unless I missed something.
And here is what we're going to prove to you over the next couple of days. And that's where they'll start with. They'll start with day one, discovery of Celeste Rivas' body, where it was found. Remember when it was found, Joe, we had a body found in an abandoned Tesla in the Hollywood Hills, towed to a yard by police. And 3 days later, the smell hits everybody, and we started covering the case. September 8th, right?
Yeah.
And we covered it because, well, again, a Tesla, first of all, outside of LA, Teslas are they're not that common to see. I don't see them every day, but
here in rural Alabama, we don't, right. But, they're out there, they're certainly out there.
I do have an electric Barbie wagon that Hannah had when she was 6. So it runs on batteries. Yeah, it's excellent.
Yeah, but I have a few of those too.
My whole point is that they're going to start with that. They will start with the discovery of the body, and they are going to walk it through to show what they have. And they're not laying out, this is not guilt or innocence. Okay.
No, it's not.
This is none of that. This is merely, and it's just beyond accusation. Okay. What made you guys hone in on David Anthony Burke as a suspect? That's what they're going to show.
Maybe the dismembered body in his car that was registered to him that was placed around the block. How about that? I can hear Nancy interrupting Dave right now. Wait, you, what are you talking about? Go to the corner and think about it.
Yeah, it is. And here's, you mentioned some of the evidence that, and some of the detail that they're going to go through relative to this, but also on that first day, this is who they're expecting to call, Dave. So we'll have the lead homicide detective. Mm-hmm. And, people hear the term lead detective, and they probably think, well, he tells people to go here and go there. That's not all they do. If you are a lead homicide detective, your job is management. Okay. So you might have multiple investigators that are within the chain or that are within your purview. Okay. And you can even have a junior detective that has no rank, but their name has come up on, it's your turn. Okay. So they catch the case.
Okay.
I have seen cases where they are short on people, and there's actually a sergeant detective that might fall under the direction of the lead detective. When you are the lead, you supersede everything else. Okay. And so they are if you imagine this, they are the keeper of record. So they have these huge binders that they put together. It is
all right. There we go with the filing system again. Joseph Scott Morgan. Yes. Thank you for putting that, cheeky. Happy birthday in heaven. And thank you to your brother, Michelle. Happy birthday month. We still celebrate, right? Tesla with the Texas plate. What a scary. You came. Coffee and Doug studio. Shout out from Cali to Vermont. Now that Tesla is 19 years old, we're seeing more and more in the UK, but can't look at one without thinking of poor Celeste. I could never own one, right? All right, guys, you guys called for it. 10 years. Tiffany, rest in peace, your brother, Michelle. What's his name? I don't know if you said that, but Joseph Scott Morgan, we love you. And we're going to bring you back on. You guys called. You guys asked for it. We're going to bring him back on with Nancy Grace. That's it. You guys have been talking about her the whole time.
Suggest, oh, I screwed up. Sorry. No, this was an intentional leak. Providing lurid, upsetting information about a little girl's rendering of her body, the disarticulation of her body.
See, she does not look even 15 here. And I'm going to say here she's probably 13, max 14. She's a little girl. She looks like a baby.
Body in a kiddie pool. A leak of that volatile, incendiary, upsetting information for what? That leads me to the specter. Did they get paid for the leak? Are they like the anonymous tipster to the Daily Mail? I mean, people get paid for information. Hey, guys, right here, look at this. Thank you, control room. Here's shots from our friends at TMZ. That is the garage where we believe the kiddie pool was placed for the rendering of Celeste.
It's
and
just
I'm putting
show.
it as euphemistically as I possibly can. Right there in his home. So thank you, TMZ, for that. But think about it. Where does this go? What if they were paid for the information to leak those very sensitive?
You know, that always happens, though. You got to admit, it always happens in a case like this that's so high profile. Foxy, thank you for the gifted membership. Guys, thank Foxy if you received that membership. Come out of the bushes, and I'm going to match you, Foxy, and I'm going to gift another membership. So come on in, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. All right, now you can be in the green. Let's go. Today is Cece Watts, 11. Wow. Coffee and Dog Studios. Cece Watts would have been 11 years old. Guys, say a prayer for the Watts family. You know, unfortunately, Coffee and Dog Studio, Chris Watts was one of the first people to family annihilate in such a public way because of Shanann being on Facebook and it going so I'd say international. But after that, there's so many family annihilators. It happens almost every other week. Every week I actually hear. I just heard somebody in San Jose that annihilated their whole family and then took the life of himself after. So it happens very often, but Chris Watts just happened to be at the right time, at the right place. Yes, Matt Rife. That was a great show. And I love this hat as well. All right.
Documents, Joe Scott. You worked in a medical examiner's office. It could be anybody. It could be one of the doctors. It could be an assistant. It could be a secretary. It could be a cleaning lady. It could be an intern that quickly Xerox the files or email them to someone. This is going to be a full-blown thing.
Yeah, it is. And one of the things that I'm hearing, Nancy, is that they use the term plural investigators, which they have a huge staff of investigators at the ME's office, ME/coroner in LA, and also other personnel. So you've got a huge, huge section of individuals that have, Nancy, nothing to do with this case that are looking through these files. And Lord only knows what happened to them. And were there photocopies made? Were there actual snaps of individual images that people were taking with their phones? Has this stuff been disseminated? Because
I think he really did think he's going to get away with this, guys. I mean, think about it. Think of all the other cases of people from Hollywood or people that have money that have done this. I mean, freaking Epstein Island and all the people that still have to be named or that have been named, and no one really cares. No one seems to care. I know, right? Multi-level business. Yeah, I don't even want to go there because people will start victim blaming, and I can't go there right now. Kaylee Anthony will be turning 21. That's crazy. August 9th. All right, back to this. David thinks he's going to get away with it. I don't understand how, but I do know narcissistic, egotistical, psychopathic people tend to do that.
When you're working with a medical examiner, Nancy, there will be one investigator assigned to this case from the MEO, okay? And that is the only person along with the pathologist that is working the case, the forensic pathologist that did the examination. Those are the only people that really need to know at this point in time. This is like a sacred trust within our community. And what's so very disturbing about this, Nancy, and this goes beyond this case, right now, the trust has been so eroded between LAPD.
He's so gross.
And between the MEO that this is one of these things that it will take forever to repair, not to mention all of the criminal and civil repercussions. Because, Nancy, this is what it comes down to. This child, as if the family hasn't had enough on them, is now being drugged before people putting eyes on this case that have no business in it. And they are seeing this over and over again. It becomes a sideshow. And that's something that we take very, very seriously.
Well, I got to tell you something. Nima Rahmani,
thank you, Kat.
If I were the prosecutor in this case, it would be like my hair was on fire.
Okay.
Getting into that medical examiner and finding out what happened, because they are this close to getting the case thrown out because of misconduct for which somebody may have been paid.
She's so pissed.
No question. So obviously there's going to be an investigation here, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's criminal charges, because that's how serious this is. But even short of misconduct, I mean, this is fodder for cross-examination. When the Emmy takes the stand, this will probably be discussed. When we're talking about jury selection, you're talking about prejudicial information that might not be admissible, that's already been leaked. So this affects voir dire as well.
Nima, look at your screen. Look at her. Look at her. She is a little girl. She is dead.
And I wonder what that picture, every time I see the scratch marks on it, I'm like, what, did she do that to herself? You know how some kids are like, I don't like that picture. I was just a baby there, even though they're only 6 months older than that. Man. Yeah, she looks like a baby. Also, she's still got the baby fat in her cheeks. Now, later on, when you see her with David, she does look a tad bit older, but not much older than 14. All right. Thank you. If you guys receive that membership, come out of the bushes and say hello. Means widespreader said, yeah, that's Matt Rife. It's his name. He's a comedian, and we saw him at the amphitheater in Shoreline Mountain View. All right, let's continue. Poor Celeste.
She has had her body rendered down.
Look at that little girl, man.
Left in 2 plastic bags and the front trunk of D4VD, David Anthony's burnt Tesla, and her body rotted. There's no nice way to say it. That is what is at stake. You mentioned cross-exam. Okay, that's a potential remedy for what has happened, but I've made out a list of what I think are possible remedies. Number 1, change of venue. They may want to change a venue so people that have heard about this won't be on the jury. But wouldn't you agree that's going to be a bad move for D4VD? They don't want to change a venue.
They're not going to change the venue. Look at Nancy's face. Let me go up further. I wasn't going to play this episode today. I just wanted to bring some Nancy on here and get into a few of the things about the leaks and what they think.
A PD Detective Sergeant, Joint Terrorism Task Force, former Chief Security Officer, and co-star of Gold Shields podcast, author of Workplace Safety, so much more.
Yeah.
Incredible work over the years. Anybody around the country who works as detective knows about them and knows about their professionalism.
Angel.
They put their heart and soul. I can guarantee you those detectives focused on nothing but this case from the minute they found that little girl in the car. They built a great case. They followed all the breadcrumbs of evidence. They didn't just say he had to have done it. They are proving it. Their evidence is substantial, significant, and they should be proud of it. And they're going into court prepared to testify to what they have learned.
And there you go. There's that car just around the corner from David's. And this might not be at that point. This might have been, a still picture prior to it moving, but they know who moved it. They know this was registered to David, and it was parked around the block when they ultimately towed this Tesla to Hollywood Tow, and then found the smell being so, just so overwhelming that they had to call law enforcement and then ultimately the coroner.
And convince a jury, and they feel good about that. And then this happens, I would be furious. I would be beyond livid. And as you mentioned earlier, it would scar my relationship at the ME's office for the rest of my career. You cannot trust them. You cannot work with them. It's that simple.
It's horrible because they're one of the most respected arms of the state. Back to investigative reporter who is publishing one article after the next regarding D4VD, David Anthony.
Guys, he's practicing for prison. Just saying, like he got that down. And I'm sure Neo, right? We know the drill. Neo the Asian, right? That's his little buddy, little bottom boy bitch. Anyway, he's getting ready for prison. That's gonna happen. Neo's microphone. Yeah, I like it. I don't know what the girls are doing, but they're screaming back there. Do you guys hear them? They just closed the door. All right. They're not screaming in a bad way. I don't know if they're tickling each other or what, but Baby Guilty and Mrs. Guilty are having way too much fun in the kitchen.
Burke in the LA magazine. She is the star of Pop Crime TV. Lauren Conlon has been on this case.
And she's all over every case. Thank you, lady. This is he looks like a deer in headlights, by the way. And this is where he has that little finger. He has like something about an anime finger and the withered. It has to do with the withered tour, whatever. BS.
I noticed is that
that was
Blair
the finger
Burke,
watch right here. He got that finger wrapped up.
Not having David shackled during these proceedings. And the judge
So
did not
stupid.
make a decision at the bench. She just told Blair Burke to file a motion about it.
Lauren Conlon, you're right. Everybody's just getting out of that. Both sides claim we're ready to go forward with the preliminary hearing. At that time, evidence will be revealed. It has to be by the state. But you brought up correctly
Kids and
again, Lauren
crime.
Conlon. Somebody was whining.
The defense brought up a shackling issue that they wanted to talk about when it came to David and the guards. So basically the judge, there wasn't a motion brought up already. So the judge decided to bring up the motion and she will address it. My assumption is they may want to maybe limit some of the shackling that he has, maybe when he comes in or something.
Okay, that's from our new friend at The Light True Crime on TikTok. Just Scott Morgan, before I go to Nima Ramani on this legal issue, D4VD, aka David Anthony Burke, is in court whining that he's shackled. Number one, there's not a jury. You can't have somebody shackled in front of a jury, Constitution. Could you just give us a little reality check in regular people talk? Okay, no big medical examiner words, please.
Gotcha. Yeah.
What happened to little Celeste,
right.
age 14? What
Let's
happened?
hear it, guys.
And he's whining about shackles. Go ahead.
She has a sharp force injury on the right aspect of her ribs. Okay. And it passes through there,
Listen up,
doesn't
guys.
touch the lung. It just goes over the top of that rib. However, if we go to the right side, and all of our friends out there, if you will take your right hand, your fingertips, and find the base of your ribs on the right-hand side, okay? That's where your liver is. This sharp force injury passed into the liver. And a lot of people think that if you sustain an injury to the liver, that perhaps you would die suddenly. Nancy, this was a long and languishing death. I've worked multiple cases involving trauma to the liver. It's a slow bleed. I find that very interesting considering some of the language we've heard in the past about this case, to watch her bleed out. And this would have not been immediate. Okay. Then after that, he disrespects her remains after she is dead and begins to render them down. How does he do that? Well, we've heard the term saw, chainsaw. We've heard all of these different things. And then if that's not bad enough, Nancy, he takes her body and allegedly and places it into this trunk of this vehicle, drives it around. And Nancy, what we have heard is that they have used the term, liquefied. So she's been in this vehicle, her remains, until literally all of the soft tissue has liquefied to the point where the remains that are still intact, she's floating.
Sad, man.
She's actually floating in her own liquefied tissue.
One of her eyes was
That's
gone,
how
too.
horrific this is. That's what he did. I don't give a damn about your shackles.
I don't think I could put it
exactly
better. Some of that video from our friends at Fox 11.
I agree.
Nima Ramani.
Right? Who cares about your shackles or you needed to get a haircut? Let me just put this out since thank you, Flojo. I saw it before, but you did not send me the complete set last time, so I didn't get the front of the car. But okay, so the other ones has SF Investigates on it. This should have Flojo TV stamped on it. It's coming from Flojo. I think you got these pictures when you're out there, correct? Anyway, you can see I don't know why they're covering the license plate when there's not one on there, but maybe there was one when they took it at the tow yard, so there was. Now there's not one on here. And then you can see this guy it was like this car was all bumped up. He'd go out, smash around, and just bump into things. And then there's the front of the car, and that is the area of the trunk where Celeste was ultimately found. We do realize that it's the Tesla X, and it's a little bit bigger of a trunk than the original Tesla, which we looked at the square footage of it, right? Or the cubic footage, and barely being able to fit in there. I know Jennifer Coffendoffer tried to fit in to the trunk of a Tesla, and she almost couldn't. And she's tiny. All right, so this was at the body shop after it was privately sold before it went to auction. Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing that with us, Flojo. Appreciate it. All right. Joseph Scott Morgan's pissed.
Jumping from Joe Scott's accurate and heartfelt explanation. What is the law on whether a defendant can be shackled, wear prison attire, you name it, in a courtroom?
So a criminal defendant can be shackled, certainly, and can wear prison attire. But generally speaking, when a jury is present, they are going to be allowed to wear civilian clothes. It's just too prejudicial. When it comes to the shackles, generally speaking, again, it's up to the judge. When a jury is present, they will not be shackled. It is too prejudicial. And of course, here in LA, we have cameras in the courtroom. Those cameramen and women, they are instructed not to film a criminal defendant shackled. So oftentimes you won't see them coming into the courtroom because they will be shackled. Those shackles will be undone. You'll see LA County sheriffs behind the defendant. And only when the shackles are undone will that defendant be allowed to be recorded. Because again, we're talking about appellate issues, prejudice to the potential jurors. And this is why the defense is
Nima, please stop. Please stop. Are you looking at your monitor? Can I see that?
Yes.
Oh,
That's never going to happen again. The only people rubbing on his arms are going to be the guys in prison that are making him bend over. All right. And Kittens and Crumb, I'm so glad you got a membership that was gifted from Cuff You. Thank you for coming out of the bushes and saying hello and thank you. Should put Nancy in the trunk. She's 4'10", I think. Jennifer Coffendoffer is not much bigger than that, though. All right. California has the death penalty. We just have a moratorium on the execution, but the governor election soon can change that. Now, I don't even care if he ever gets executed. To be honest with you, what sucks about the death penalty, and especially for narcissists like that feed off of their ego, for people rubbing them and acting like they're so great. Remember, David doesn't like to be alone. David doesn't like to be isolated. David was homeschooled and he was bored to death in his own room, making music in the closet. He told us that he hated being alone and being all just by himself. So guess what? When you get the death penalty, you're in a cell for 23 hours a day by yourself. All right. He's going to hate that. I hope that happens because look at him. This was after Celeste was already dead and gone.
Worried about how he looks. Here's a guy, quote, dating a little girl he, quote, met at age 11 wearing I love boobs. Let me see, Nima Ramani. So this little girl is ordered up like a pizza by him on an Uber to his house. It's just like ordering Chinese food. She comes over. Jesus. I love boobs. Really? And now he's worried about how he looks, his clothing. He must not be that worried. He's showing his ASS in court with his pants pulled down in the back. But yet they're whining that his shackles are that's a bad look. Really? Do you not see the irony here? Can I spell it out any more clearly for you, Nima?
I do, Nancy, but these are criminal defense lawyers and they're going to push every advantage they have. And one of them is pretrial publicity. That's why this Emmy leak is a big deal. That's why being filmed in prison garb and shackles is a big deal. And that's why judges do everything they can to protect their rights.
What, is she rubbing oil on him?
Yep.
Oh my goodness, he's got somebody to rub oil on. You know what? Okay. Lauren Conlon, the case is going forward. The defense claim.
He's like a little manlet, right? Just like a little manlet that you can fold up and put in your pocket. So that's how it's going to be. He's tiny. He's small. He's going to go in fresh into prison, fresh shaved. They're going to love him there. And nobody ever gets the death penalty. They do. I shouldn't say that because I've been watching different executions happening in places like Texas and Florida. But being executed here in California probably is not ever going to happen to him. Look at what happened with Scott Peterson. He got the death penalty and then he got it taken off. So I doubt that he'll ever be executed.
Claims they're ready with much bravado. Then they give a little. They say something about, but we haven't gotten all the discovery yet. There you go. There's an opening for them right there. Come showtime, go time. They're going to say, we didn't get all the discovery. They want to appear as if they're ready to go forward, but they're giving themselves an out. Did you hear that?
Yep.
Yes. I mean, I definitely think if you listen sort of between the lines, you can pick that up. However, the prosecution stated at the status conference that the defense has everything relevant as to what they would need to make this into a case so they could defend it. They said everything that they need digitally, even all of the written police and detective reports. So I have no doubt here, Nancy, that they are ready to go. They cannot delay this any longer.
Right.
Hi, guys. American homeowners.
All right, guys. We're almost there. Buckle up, buckle in. We've been here for over 2 hours on a Friday. Thank you, guys.
What are they talking about?
Nancy, what they're actually dealing with here is not a video created by D4VD, but it is a repost, meaning he saw this and he thought it was really great. And so he reposted it, which, I mean, think about the deliberate nature of that, of seeing something somebody else has done and going, I identify with that. I need to share this with all my peeps, which is exactly what he did.
No, there's no house arrest.
I would imagine
there's not going to be a house arrest. That's not even on the table. If anything, he'll just be in segregation and he'll be by himself just like he likes it, all alone. He's not going to get house arrest, I assure you. He's high as F in that car. Is that Matthew McConaughey in that car?
At some point, one of his inner circle went, hey, dude, probably not a good look for you, pull that down, which Burke did. But he reposted it. It's just I'm incapable of understanding what's going through a man's head that thinks it's okay to do this at any level. But he did it. And then, like everything on the internet, it stays forever, Nancy.
Okay, let me understand. Am I saying Matthew McConaughey? I'm sure he's so happy that he has been made a part of this, part of the D4VD, David Anthony Burke.
I don't know. I don't know when it is.
So let me say it again. So the night we believe Celeste is killed, 14-year-old Celeste, his mind is way past that, according to the state. D4VD is identifying with Matthew McConaughey, the guy who's worked his rear end off to be a Hollywood star. And he is identifying with McConaughey driving a luxury car. Okay, fine. But the point is, this is right after, according to the state, hours after Celeste has been killed. What is this telling you? Help me, Bethany.
Nancy, this is glorification and the death of another person. This is triumphing over the love object, triumphing over the victim. This is total disdain and
total duper's delight. He's had so many duper's delight moments throughout this as well. Now that we go back and we look at the stuff now that we know, right, in hindsight, everything he did after what he did to Celeste was almost like bragging about it. He was almost like, yeah, I did that. I mean, he was literally, I don't know what he thought. I really don't. Just, she needs a bit of a tan, right? She always looks super white. But then again, so do I. I need to get out there. I need to get out in the pool and get some sun.
Respect towards her, just like he showed towards the judge in court today. And what I would be interested in is his digital footprint in terms of how he represented Celeste to his fans. Did he put her down? Did he degrade her? Did he beat her? But how did he represent her to the public? It seems like she was somebody that he routinely degraded in multiple ways. And this is the ultimate degradation, is to show that he just doesn't really care after her death. He just doesn't care. In fact, what we do know about domestic homicide is often after a victim is killed, the perpetrator feels a great sense of relief. And I think that's going to be a part of the court case, is what happened in the hours after her death and how relieved and glorified and delighted he was that she was no longer around, so he could continue with his career.
I mean, help me out, Dan Murphy, former Detective Sergeant NYPD. According to the state, D4VD has just killed Celeste. And he's posting luxury car videos. I mean, he's barely, according to the state, barely wiped the blood off his hands. And he's gone to a PR event now. He's posting online. Then he gets the sense to unpost it and then later reposts it.
This is not a criminal.
I don't think he realizes what he's got in store for him, because anybody that's facing what he's facing would never, ever do any of that, right? I mean, that's like, let's say playing on the edge with this, right? Let's say after Madeline Soto was gone, Jen's out there posting about things that happened to her during and after, and just complete and utter duper's delight. We all see it. And there's so many other things we've covered. There's a whole playlist on this case on my channel, guys. And I mean, we've done full episodes of things that he did the day after he took her life, and even the night of taking her life, the day after, the week after, right? He went on radio stations and just kind of lightly bragged about it. We'd have a party at your house, Foxy. You're going to pick up Deb. David is not the sharpest tool in the shed. He's definitely not. And again, remember, he's going to fail like this. All right, here's his I'm going to fail clip. Bam. That was him at Coachella trying to do his little parkour and smashing him face. That's how the trial's going to go. Unfortunately, we don't get to see him in the trial, and we're only going to get those dumb court drawings that I hate so much. All right, let's continue. Remember the Lori Vallow court drawings? They should have fired that girl that was doing the court drawings in the Lori Vallow case. That was one of the worst drawings I've ever seen in my life. They replaced him with his brother. Faye made him lose his mind. He was playing in everyone's face. I don't either. And I think he would be kept on being a predator. Oh, absolutely. He was already, remember, he got caught with CSAM that was not just of Celeste. I know, me too. Me too. You ever watch an episode of something and you want to go back and rewind it, but you don't because you're like, that's so good. And then they play it again. And you're like, yes. Yeah, that's here right now.
Mastermind. This is somebody who is so wrapped up and self-absorbed in themselves that everything revolves around them. And she was just, as you alluded to before, she was just something in his life that was expendable. And when she became problematic, she had to go. He is so wrapped up in his image. You mentioned earlier about wearing the orange suit, prison jumpsuit down below his ASS, as you say. That's a prison yard thing, but it's worked its way onto the street to become part of the street culture.
Hey, Angel Eyes.
Him doing that, in my opinion, is his way of saying to anybody he's going to be in prison with, because he knows he's going to be in prison,
hey, come
I'm
get
like
my
you.
booty.
I'm a street guy. I'm a tough guy. I'm a rapper. I'm this. I'm that. I'm not some soft-spoiled thing. I'm willing to.
My stars, Dan Murphy. This defendant was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He is not gaining street cred to me by literally showing his ASS in court. That said, the plot thickens, the deception.
Didn't that used to be used in prison to show people that you're down for being a bottom bitch? That's what it used to be. And now, yeah, That's what it's sagging means. He wants it in the pooper. That's what it used to be for inmates. They're telling you, hey, I want it in the pooper. Maybe that's what he's doing in court, because there's nothing about David that's a badass. He's a little manlet. He's like the size of this, and you just put him in your pocket. Like, he's going to be somebody's bitch, and he is going to have money. He is going to have fans, and he's going to have constant money and constant things coming in to where people are going to say, they're going to extort him. I guarantee you he's going to get extorted. He's going to say, come get that booty. But also I don't think he's going to fight the extortion either. Right? She was so cute. I know. She's a baby, guys. She's still a baby.
Intensifies. I want you to see something that we've just found. This is D4VD with Celeste in the back of an Uber. Watch.
Shaza.
Keep looking.
David with Celeste.
Keep watching. Watch.
Oh, she's covering her face.
Once again, she's covering her face. I mean, keep it up. To Lauren Conlon and Control Room. Oh, that is from our new friend and operative, Orden Yu, on TikTok. While Lauren is talking, I want to see.
We're covering the David case. David's grand jury testimony has been leaked regarding the medical examiner and even the flight ticket that he set or that he gave to Celeste to come out to Texas. So we're covering the David case because there's going to be a big hearing, a preliminary hearing next week on the 21st, and that's going to be the decider of whether the trial goes forward and when. Yeah, he's going to be somebody's bitch. That mother trucker. No, her parents aren't saying anything, but I'm sure they're going to have to talk and be witnesses.
That I want to see the other pictures. Very calculated, where she's always hiding her face in pictures. Lauren Conlon.
It's all fun and games.
Why would she be hiding her face? Other than to hide the fact she's underage.
4 days from now.
Well, I think you nailed it right there. And Nancy, I had never seen that video of her in the back of the Uber, and my heart is broken. Her hands, her little hands, they just look so small.
Flojo, have you ever seen that? This is actually the first time I've seen that video. This is like way back when David hadn't even got his teeth done yet. If you look at his teeth, he's got like a silver tooth in there, and his teeth are kind of jagged. But later on, after he becomes a big star, he goes and gets all his teeth done. They're all white and pretty. He still keeps that damn pimple patch. Probably has acne problem, so he just puts the damn patches on. But Celeste, guys, right there. Where's the freaking jury? Where's the evidence? There's so many receipts with Celeste, and he thinks it's fun and games. Probably on Molly or Tusi. Oh, God. Dear Lord, help us.
She looks like a child to me, and it's breaking my heart even more, especially amid all of these issues, these procedural issues that are going on right now. And I also want to point out, Nancy, that video of Matthew McConaughey that David reposted, it's giving me the chills because David went back and forth to Santa Barbara, the alleged dump area where her ID was found. I'm seeing all of these parallels between other notorious killers.
Dr. Bethany Marshall, what about it?
Well, it shows consciousness of guilt, premeditation. Preparing for a dump site is one of the things that we assess for when we try to determine how premeditated was a crime. And usually that involves a lot of driving, looking for just the right spot. I'm going to guess he drove to Santa Barbara, drove back, couldn't find an appropriate dump site. And that's when allegedly he bought the kiddie pool, the chainsaws. As Dan said, he's not exactly a mastermind. He ordered those off of Amazon, but when one plan failed, he went to the next. That was plan B, that disarticulating of her body.
Now, that video I showed you guys, we had it not blurred out in this one. This is two little girls here. These are David's fans, and they're underage minors, and he gets up on the chair, and he's shaking his fucking dick around, excuse my language, but that's what it looks like. He's literally flopping his dick around on that chair to those young kids. Again, I showed that prior to. I don't know where I got the video from. Maybe it was on Reddit, but that's what he's doing with those minors right there. right? Those are his next victims.
I'm going to guess he drove to Santa Barbara, drove back, couldn't find an appropriate dump site. And that's when allegedly he bought the kiddie pool, the chainsaws.
Watch.
As Dan said, he's not exactly a mastermind. He ordered those off of Amazon. But when one plan failed, he went to the next. That was plan B, the disarticulating of her body.
True.
Hi, guys. Nancy Grace here. Please join us on Crime Stories and stream it first on Fox 1.
Yes, Nancy. Yes, Nancy. Yes. All right, guys. Let me put this up as we go. Thank you guys for being here. Don't forget, July 21st is going to be the preliminary hearing. They said it's supposed to last 3 days. It is not going to be televised, my friends, but it will be reported on by Lauren Conlon, Steve Fisher, I'm sure, and all the other people that will be out in that area covering it, because they have consistently been covering it, and that's where I get my information from. So on that note, guys, justice for Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Let's pray that she gets some justice in this case and it moves forward with the trial and the trial date so we can move on. All right, guys, on that note, I love you guys. Happy Friday. Happy birthday month to whoever needs to hear that. Happy birthday for whoever needs it. Big hugs. Love to all of you guys. Remember, that's going to be David right there on the 21st. He's going to crash and burn, and we're going to get trial dates. All right. Justice for Celeste. Under your scars. Yes. Have a great weekend. Maybe I'll see you guys out on the streets of YouTube this weekend. All right. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you all the things that are drugs. There's a lot of new drugs out there, my friends. I would say don't do them. Don't do them. All right. Best mods and chat. Thank you, Jay, Crime Crew. And FloJo's always coming in hot with the $5 super sticker. Thank you. Love you guys. Have a good evening. Mwah. Good night. If you guys came in late, it is worth it to go back and watch the video. Are you going live, FloJo? Inquiring minds want to know. Let's see what he says, FloJo. Or do you have a schedule this weekend where you're going to be streaming? Because we want to know. I want to be in your chat. And so do they. All right. If he's going live, I'm going to give him a second to answer. He might be behind in the stream, guys, but definitely. Oh, cool. All right. So there you go. FloJo's going to go live this weekend. You guys go head over to his channel, subscribe, make sure you hit all notifications so that we can figure out when he's going to stream and we can be there. Good night, Stacy, Mr. Bot, Mo, FloJo, Nikki, Cool and Chris, Sadie's mama, Kat. Just say no to them new drugs, my friends. They might have fentanyl in them. Just say no. On that note, I'm out. Love you guys. And even Steve, even the Steves and the Vinces, and the trolls that try to be funny, guys, bring it. Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Bring it. Bring it, Vincent and Steve. Come on. Get me a super chat and I'll pin up your stupid comments. Good night, guys. Love you. Have a good night. Mwah. Everything has fent in it now, though, not just pills. It's not a pill. It's something that looks like, basically imagine what regular cocaine looks like and then turn it pink. That's what Tusi is. But I don't know why they call it the pink whatever. I don't know why they call it that, because I've seen people do some wild shit on Tusi and it's nothing like that. So don't be fooled when you think it's the pink, Coca-Cola, so to speak. Nah, it's nothing like that, my friends. All right, good night, guys. Love you. Love you, Mom.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?